Jack, Barteck, and Riv. This is now episode 43 of the podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking about PJ Walker, Taysom Hill's first start, Joe Burrow's injury, if the Eagles should bench Wentz, why was Tua benched, if Justin Herbert is offensive rookie of the year, if the Jets or Jaguars will win the number one pick, and the Titans beating the Ravens, the Colts beating the Packers, and if the Chiefs are still the team to beat. Then we're going to finish off the show with NFL Pick'em Week 12 and our Week 12 top 10 power rankings in the NFL. So, guys, second live episode. How does it feel, man?
Well, this is my first.
Yeah, this is his first episode, except for he was here for the draft, like half of it. But I'm excited to get Riv in here. You know, see how he deals with the callers, because we had to deal with the callers already.
And we had to deal with the callers. Jack doesn't want to take a L.
Yeah, he don't want to take an L in public.
I'll take an L when I deserve an L.
I think you deserve that.
All right, so we're going to start off with the first topic. PJ Walker had his first NFL start, and this is a guy who came from the XFL. I mean, his story is incredible. He was cut 12 times from the NFL. He went undrafted. The only reason he went to the XFL is because Andrew Luck put in a word for Oliver Luck, the XFL commissioner, and said, you got to get PJ Walker in the XFL. And he balled out. He got opportunity, and he started. I mean, how did you feel about PJ Walker's first start?
You want to start or you want me to start?
You're going to talk longer than me. So I give him a solid, C plus B grade. I feel like he played pretty well aside from the 2 interceptions. I feel like for the most part, it took him a little bit of time to get comfortable with the game and get situated. But I feel like once he was comfortable, once he understood the game, he started to play really well. And they won the game. So, that's always a benefit. Regardless of how the quarterback plays, his first start was a W. So, shout out to him, props to him for getting that win. And I just think he played really good for the most part.
Yeah, I thought he was solid. I mean, he was by no means perfect. He was by no means great. He might not even have been good. He was just good enough. And it helped that his defense played really well against a Lions team that just looked lost. But, 24 of 34, 258 yards, a touchdown, and granted 2 interceptions. I thought he threw the ball pretty well. He had good pocket presence. He's a quarterback, and you could tell it's in his blood. Like, you could tell he's a quarterback at heart. And the one thing that he needs to improve on if he wants to seriously be an NFL starter moving forward is he's just got to get used to the NFL game speed. I thought that there were a couple throws he made that were just terrible decisions. I thought he tried to fit some balls into some tight windows that might work in the XFL, might have worked at Temple, but are just not going to cut it in the NFL. And if that's his biggest problem, that's okay, because that's something you can iron out and work on moving forward. The fact that he has the arm strength, he has the pocket presence, and he looks like he kind of belongs out there is all good signs to me. And it always helps to start with a W, even if it helps that your defense put up a donut. So I would feel good about it if I was him. It's not like he came out and looked shell-shocked, so it's a good sign in my opinion.
I thought he was okay. I mean, I think he's a great story. Is he a great player? Is he a starting quarterback in the NFL? I don't think that he is. I think he could be a good backup if he continues to improve. He had those 2 interceptions. I think both of them were in the red zone. One was a horrible decision. The second one was a horrible decision as well. I thought he was going to throw it away, but in fact, he threw it to a defender in the red zone. I think it was in the fourth quarter that he had that. But he also had another near interception. Him and Robbie Anderson had some miscommunication, and that was weird to me because they played together at Temple. So out of all the guys that you think he'd have good chemistry with, it'd be Robbie. I mean, he was finding Curtis Samuel. He was finding DJ Moore. The Robbie connection wasn't that great. But, yeah, I mean, to be honest, he had 2 interceptions, but I thought he could have had 3. When I watch games and I see, like, defenders drop interceptions, I always count that against a quarterback. I don't care about what the stats say. I count that against a quarterback. So I thought it should have been 3 interceptions. He was okay. I mean, the Lions offense was really the story of the day for all the wrong reasons. I mean, they were horrible. Yeah. The Panthers defense is good. They're just not good on third down. They have like one of the worst third down defenses in NFL history. So if they were to able to like get better on third down, they might be one of the better defenses in the NFL.
And I'll say this: if I'm an NFL team looking for a backup, I think that PJ Walker could be one of the best backups in all of football. I don't know if I would trust him as a starter moving forward, but I think that he's somebody that, in the right place, maybe with the perfect situation, he could eventually become a serviceable starter. But it's just a question of like, is it too far down the road at this point for him to be a guy somewhere as not even a franchise quarterback, as somebody who starts for a year or two? I just don't see that happening. I think that he can be serviceable in situations like the Panthers where they just don't have anybody right now. Teddy's down and he needs somebody to play games.
I think what benefits
Will
him,
Greer was a top pick too. Like, I think third rounder, right?
Yeah.
Or fourth rounder, somewhere around there. And he took Will Greer's spot quick.
well, PJ's only like 25, so he's still
26.
young. Yeah, he's still young. And I
Also.
think what benefits him is that the Panthers sneaky on offense have weapons. DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Curtis. I know Christian McCaffrey's not playing, but he's still another weapon. So they have guys out there that can put PJ in a position to succeed. So I think that's going to help him going along the way.
You know, PJ Walker in the XFL, he had 15 touchdowns and I think 0 interceptions.
Yeah, he was the MVP if the league.
Yeah,
He's the best player in the league.
He was. He was to the XFL what Lamar Jackson was to the NFL last year. Literally. Like, he was their box office guy. If they're gonna do a commercial, it's gonna be for PJ Walker.
He would have been on the video game cover.
But even his 0 turnovers, 0 interceptions in the XFL was misleading because he had a lot of them that were dropped.
Talk to us, man. How many?
I don't know how many were dropped, but
number.
he had some that were dropped. The stats were misleading. He wasn't as perfect at what they depicted. But yeah, I mean, this was a good first start. It was his first start. And hopefully he just continues to improve. I mean, the Panthers aren't making the playoffs. We pretty much know that. Who knows how long Teddy's going to be back. I don't know if he's going to be back in a few weeks, next week. Who knows? So PJ Walker has some time to show some NFL teams what he has, and I hope that he succeeds.
He was fun to watch. I mean, like, I wouldn't mind watching him. You know, obviously he needs to improve, but if I was a team, like you said, the Panthers are not making the playoffs. I think PJ Walker would be fun to watch the rest of the way. Obviously, when Teddy comes back, that's not a viable option, but, you know, there's something there. You can tell he's not ready for the NFL game speed, like I said, yet, and he tries to make too many throws that would work in the XFL and clearly don't in the NFL. But again, that's something that I think can be fixed over time. But, you know, I didn't think that he looked terrible. I thought he was just good enough, especially with the defense getting a shutout.
You guys think Teddy is the long-term answer for Carolina?
No.
I think Teddy's good. I mean, I
know he's good, but is he the long-term answer?
He better be, because they might not have a top pick to draft the quarterback. The Panthers may not have a top pick. And they pay Teddy for a couple more years. I think 3 more years. I think Teddy's a good quarterback. If you get a better offensive line, their receivers are good enough, their defense is promising, they can be at the top of that division.
Well, for me, what do you consider long-term? Like, what are you talking long-term?
He's their franchise quarterback moving forward.
I would not say that. I think for the next 3 years, he can put them in a position to compete, but I just don't know, like, past that contract, if that's going to be the guy they go with. The only thing is, like Joel said, if they do start to compete, get that line a little bit better, they're not going to have that high pick to draft, you know, an immediate, like, first whistle in the NFL quarterback. But I just don't know if Teddy is a guy that I would call my franchise quarterback. He's solid. It's no disrespect to Teddy. I think he's a pretty good NFL quarterback, but I don't know if I would want to consider him my franchise quarterback.
So the next question is, this is another quarterback that started his first start at 30 years old, Taysom Hill. Was Sean Payton right to start Taysom Hill over Jameis Winston? I'm going to start with you, Riv.
I think the easy answer would be yes, because they caught the win. But at the same time, I feel like either quarterback would have succeeded regardless, just because of the simple fact of how good the Saints are offensively. Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, Alvin Kamara, that offensive line, and that defense. And on top of that, they played the Falcons. So I'm not going to put I want to see them play against a good team and see where Taysom Hill's at. I still think Jameis Winston is the obvious better talent. I think going forward, he's probably going to be the guy. But I do think, and the players wanted Jameis Winston to start too. They felt like he should have started. But I do think at the moment, at the time, since the result was a W and Taysom Hill did play well, that it was the right move for Sean Payton.
I disagree with that. I was high on Jameis and I still am, but I'm not sure about his future with the Saints. I'm sure about Taysom Hill's future with the Saints as quarterback and as the gadget player they've been using him as so far. I mean, watching Taysom Hill, I was very impressed with him. He had one mistake in the game. It was a red zone interception in the first quarter, and then he had a fumble late in the fourth quarter off like a power run. But he was the obvious right choice to start, and Sean Payton was right about it. I mean, this is a guy that he has a cannon for an arm. He threw a 50-yard pass to Emmanuel Sanders that should have been a touchdown that got called back. But it was a hell of a throw, and I was like, wow, I didn't know Taysom could do that. And he showed me he can throw. He was making quick decisions in a short passing game. It seems like Michael Thomas is always open for them. Every single time there was a play, I was like, Thomas is going to be open. And he had yards of space. I mean, like nobody was near him.
And this was his best game of the season. And granted, he hasn't played the whole year. He's played games with Drew Brees, and he has not put up these numbers this year. So I thought that was a good sign for the Saints. I thought it was interesting because it's funny, Jameis Winston, from the time Drew Brees was considered out, was the most added player in fantasy football on ESPN over the past week. It was just a given. We had a topic on what Jameis Winston would be as the Saints quarterback, but when you look at it, it was an interesting decision. The Saints players, like Riv said, at least were split on it, according to reports. But he had a solid game, 18 of 23, 233 yards, and he ran for 51 more and 2 touchdowns. Granted, he had the fumble, he had the interception. One of the things that I was most impressed with, under pressure, he was 6 of 6 for 117 yards and 88.3 passing grade, which is a pickup from Drew Brees, who was only about 40% under pressure this season, which is crazy to me. I was super impressed with just how comfortable he was in the pocket. He hasn't been used as a quarterback since his college days, which was years ago. So I was really impressed by that. The only question that I would have moving forward is the same question that everybody has about Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. He can do it when they're ahead, and they'll look unbeatable when they have a lead or in a tied game. But late, when you're trailing and you need to make a comeback, like 30% of his throws were beyond the first down marker, and that's down almost 7% from Drew Brees' 37% of throws past the first down marker. 12 of his 30 dropbacks were play action and 5 more were screens. So when he needs to make the big play, can you count on him to do it? I don't know if that's going to be a concern because the Saints defense is so good and we don't know when Drew Brees is coming back. So is this going to be their long-term guy? There's so many questions, but my only big question coming out of this week would be, can you rely on him to win you a game from behind?
My biggest question with Taysom is not that. My biggest question with Taysom is his instincts as a quarterback and his pocket awareness. Because it seems like too many times when I was watching that Taysom Hill, when he would sense pressure and he would start to scramble, instead of throwing it away or instead of maybe going out of bounds if he, has an open lane, he will try to find any and every way to get a positive gain on the play. And that's kind of his running back kind of tight end instincts coming into play. But there were some times where I was just like, why are you running into that? You're losing yards. Just throw it away. Just throw it away. That's my question with him. There's a lot of people that are talking about how he's 30 years old. He's too old. I don't buy into that. I don't buy into that because Steve Young's first 6 seasons, he went 10-19 as a starter.
No way you just said Steve Young.
Taysom Hill is 30 years old. Young didn't start all 16 games for the 49ers until he was 31. And he started 10 when he was 30 for the 49ers. 30 years old. Kurt Warner, at 28 years old, he was the full-time starter for the Rams. And you can laugh about it all you want, but if I would have told you a 27-year-old working at a grocery store was going to be a Super Bowl champion with the Rams, you would have been laughing too.
The funny thing is, and I don't know if you took it from this, but in the past few years, Sean Payton has compared Taysom Hill to Steve Young.
That's why I used him. But there's quarterbacks that are like Kurt Warner, Steve Young, who have started late in their career. Steve Young didn't start all 16 until he was 31 years old. People now would have ruled him out. This isn't basketball where your prime as a player is 28 to 32 and you're washed up.
Especially as a quarterback.
Yep. As a quarterback in the NFL, you can play until you're 38, until you're 40. Taysom Hill, this could just be the beginning of his career, and he can have a good 8 years if he starts with the Saints. And I saw enough from him that, yeah, I could start him because Jameis, he might be a better thrower of the football when, you're throwing long passes because he's not that good at like short intermediate throws. But in terms of a weapon, Taysom Hill by far makes the Saints offense more dynamic because you can run power runs in the end zone. He can escape the pocket. He can run. There's just so much more you have to account for with Taysom Hill than with Jameis Winston.
Yeah, and one of the best things in Taysom Hill's favor, I think, is you look at the landscape of the NFL right now and who are becoming the stars. Patrick Mahomes is on a different level, but he can run the football. Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, all these Kyler Murray, all these young quarterbacks coming into the NFL can run the football too. And if you can't, you're almost ostracized for it. Like, think of the best quarterback recruits in the country. All of them can also get out of the pocket and make a play with their legs. And Taysom Hill obviously can do that because he's been playing gadget for the last however many years with the Saints. So I think that that's a positive for him. And like you said, he can play for a while. He's in a great offense with Sean Payton, who is an offensive mastermind. And for now, where we don't know what he is making plays downfield, he has Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas, who are the two best short game weapons in football. Yeah,
they're going to be there.
They're both locked up long term there. So for the next 4 or 5 years, you're going to have those two short game weapons with Taysom Hill. He can develop his game downfield while having easy, quick routes that he can hit, and he hit them efficiently on Sunday. Granted, it wasn't against the best defense in the Falcons. They've looked better since firing Dan Quinn, so they're no slouch anymore. I don't think.
Next game, they're facing the Broncos, who kind of put on a defensive show against the Dolphins, but who knows what they're going to do against the Saints. I mean, if you're over there, you sound like you're really hesitant on Taysom Hill. I want to hear what you got to say.
I'm just not going to overreact to a game against the Falcons. I want to see. I don't want to. I get what you were saying because obviously nobody thought Steve Young was going to be that, Kurt Warner was going to be that, but I don't want to overreact to a game against the Falcons. I want to wait till he plays, the Chiefs. Then I want to wait a couple more games. It's just too early to say, oh, I feel like he can do this. I feel like he can do that. I think it was a good game. It was a nice game, but I don't want to overreact to one game.
Oh, I'm not saying he'll be that.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I don't want to say.
I'm just saying his age shouldn't be.
Oh no, yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
because even did Ryan Tannehill just have his bloom at like 30 years old?
I mean, that's true, but I think he was always a good quarterback.
No, but I'm just saying they just started really realizing Ryan Tannehill at 30. I'm not saying his age. I agree with you on that part. I'm saying I don't think this game should tell you, oh yeah, this is going to be the guy moving forward. I still think Jameis Winston has a chance to flip that narrative, and Taysom Hill has a chance to lose that narrative in the next couple games.
The one thing that I think is very clear is I questioned when he named Taysom Hill the starter, but there was obviously a reason for it. Taysom Hill knows that offense inside and out, and he fits it, much better, I think, than Jameis Winston. We were talking about it in our show last week. Jameis is not a perfect fit for that Saints offense, and I think that maybe that might have been the problem for Sean Payton, is he knows that Taysom Hill was going to come out, run the offense the way he wanted it to be run, and he could trust him more with it. And it'll be interesting moving forward to see how he performs, but I was pleasantly surprised with the way he played.
So these two starts of Taysom Hill and PJ Walker were great stories. Now we're going to move on to a sad story. Joe Burrow got injured against the Washington football team. I'm pretty sure the injury happened in the fourth quarter, right?
It was late in the game.
It was late in the game. So it's something that, once you're that late in the game for an injury like that to happen, that's just horrible. At first, they thought it was a torn left ACL, but in fact, it's way more. I mean, the MRI revealed that it's a torn MCL and other structural issues along with an ACL. The recovery time for this is 9 to 12 months.
A year. Which
means he'll come back probably mid-season. And I personally think that
I don't think we're going to see him next year.
They could sit him out next year. But
I think it would make sense.
But the question I just want to ask is, what's next? What's next for the Bengals and what's next for Joe Burrow?
Well, let me get this out of the way, because this is actually a thought that I had yesterday, or it might have been this morning when I heard that it was more than just the ACL.
Late for your test?
When I was late for my test. I don't want to, this might come out wrong, but it might end up being a blessing in disguise for the Bengals because with Joe Burrow in the game, they are not an easy win against anybody. I mean, they will fight and claw. Next year, if Joe Burrow can't start, which personally, it would be a miracle, in my opinion, if he comes back from this type of injury for next season, because it's 9 to 12 months recovery time. So even if he gets on the field in 9 months, you already missed all training camp, OTAs, you're back for the beginning of the year. So I can't see that happening. So now next year, you look at it, who's your quarterback? Ryan Finley? Unless you pick somebody up, stink it up next year. Be the Jets. Have a terrible season. Get a high draft pick. Do well in the draft and surround Joe Burrow with some more talent. They have a good core that they've built there.
They have cap too.
And they have cap space. They can really use this to their advantage, as terrible as this thing it is. Get him protection on that offensive line and make sure this doesn't happen again, because that was one of the things this year's offensive line was terrible. It was one of, if not the worst in the league. So, you kind of felt like eventually he was going to miss games due to an injury the way he was getting beat up.
I agree. I think you sit Burrow out for next season. Obviously, this injury is devastating. You sit him out next year. Let Ryan Finley play. Go ahead. Have fun. Let him play. Let him go out there, do whatever he does. Go 0-16, go jet it up, like I say. Get a draft pick. Get some more talent. Build that offensive line. Get another receiver, because A.J. Green is probably out of there. So you get another guy in there. You get a good tight end. You get that defense building up. And then you get reloaded for the year after. And then Joe Burrow can come in there, and then you guys can make a push.
I mean, I think first things first, what's next for the Bengals is exactly that. They're going to be bad. They're going to get it. They're definitely going to have a top 10 pick this year. The real question is, they're going to have a top 5 pick. If they have a top 5 pick, you pick up Penny Sewell from Oregon. I might have mispronounced his name.
The left tackle?
Yeah. It's like a generational left tackle. You get a guy like that.
You're talking about he's a generational left tackle?
Yeah, you get a guy like that. I might have said his name wrong, but you get a guy like that first. Next year, you're going to be bad. If there's another top offensive lineman next year, you get him too. You just get linemen to protect Joe Burrow. And that's what's next for them. They're going to be bad. We know that. There's no question to me that Joe Burrow is still the guy.
He is.
And you don't even think about moving on from quarterback. He is that guy.
Yeah. And him and Herbert were going to gun it out for the offensive rookie of the year race this year, which is crazy because Herbert, which we'll talk about later, is putting up all-time numbers at the quarterback position for a rookie. So the fact that it was even close says a lot about the season Joe Burrow is having. And, you said it, build up that wall, protect him, and the rest will come. You could figure out the defense later. You have receivers that are solid already. You have Joe Mixon at running back, who, if I'm not mistaken, they have locked up for a couple more years. So I think they're good there. I like Zach Taylor. I think he could be a good NFL head coach. So they have a solid foundation. They just need a couple more very important blocks. And once they figure that out, you mentioned Sewell, however you pronounce his name, would be a huge pickup for them. He would be the first overall pick this year if Trevor Lawrence wasn't in the draft, and maybe Justin Fields, but he is literally that good.
Yeah.
So if you can get him in the building, I mean, that's just
they need
one
to get
step
him in the building.
Joe Burrow was sacked 32 times in 10 games.
Was that number 3 on the list?
I'm not sure if that was number 3 on the list, but I just know that's a lot of times to get sacked in those amount of games.
I know who's number 1.
And he was probably pressured on probably half of his dropbacks. The thing about it is that I think Joe Burrow will come back good from this injury because he doesn't rely on athleticism. He has great arm talent, or I guess you could say great, maybe pretty good, borderline
his
great.
IQ is off the chart.
That's what it is. How he reads defenses, that's what makes Joe Burrow great and potentially has a potential to be one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. Right now, there was a question. I was looking at the headlines of First Take this morning in sports media, stuff like that, just mainstream media. And First Take, one of the questions was, is it the Bengals' fault that Joe Burrow got injured?
What?
And to answer that question, I don't think it is. We see quarterbacks with bad offensive lines all the time that don't get hurt. I mean, Daniel Jones, he hasn't gotten a major injury. Sam Darnold, we could name so many quarterbacks that it hasn't happened to. This is just bad luck.
It's
It
just a
happens like
freak
this in
accident.
football. That's what it just happens like that in football sometimes.
You could have as great of an offensive line as you want.
Look at Dak Prescott.
Yeah, exactly. All it takes is one bad landing, which is
Look
what
at
it
Carson
was.
Wentz.
Yeah, think about it this way. He got sacked 31 times before that and was perfectly fine, to an extent at least. And now, just because one wrong landing, if that didn't happen, the question wouldn't be, are the Bengals failing Joe Burrow? It would have just been another sack. So as much as they didn't build up that offensive line, Rome wasn't built in a day. They went out and they got their quarterback of the future. And beyond that, they didn't pick again for 31 picks. So I don't know what you want them to do. You know, you can only do so much in 1 year. For the fact that they found Joe Burrow, who looks like a franchise guy, that's impressive enough. And I think that, like I mentioned with what they want to do next year, you find your franchise guy, the rest falls in line. So now they got to find the offensive line and work from there, I think.
We've talked about 2 quarterbacks that got their first start. 1 quarterback got a major injury. Now we're going to talk about 2 quarterbacks that got benched and one that people want to get benched. The first one is Carson Wentz. I know, Riv, you're an Eagles fan, so I want to ask you the question first. Is it time to bench Carson Wentz?
You know, it's a tricky situation because if we bench him, what are we gonna put Jalen Hurts in, right? We're gonna put him in a pretty sickening situation for him to get hurt too. I don't think you bench him. I think you just ride out the season. Season's already a lost cause. Even if we make the playoffs, probably gonna get destroyed by the Bucks. Because right now we're supposed to be playing the Bucks, so they're gonna destroy us. I think you ride him out the season. You play him the season, because if you bench him now, you put Jalen Hurts in. There's a chance. It's not like that offensive line is going to get any better. It's not like the receivers are going to get any better. The injuries are still going to happen throughout the year. The defense has been playing well. The past defense has been playing really well. So that's one thing about us, and that's been a struggle for us all year. It's sad that now that's better, everything else has dropped. So I think you start him for the rest of the year. Just ride it out, and then you figure out in the offseason, because this year's a lost cause.
This is the first time that I'm going to agree with you about Carson Wentz when we talk about him. I could have came on the show today and bashed Carson Wentz and called him horrible and said he's an interception machine and said he leads the league in turnovers and say he's not better than Dak and this season is why. I could have came on the show and probably made an argument for all those things and said you're crazy not to want to start Jalen Hurts. But I think people get too lost in the moment, especially in the age of social media. People are too quick to jump the gun and want change to happen right away. I mean, damn, can a quarterback just have a bad year? Like, that's what I'm thinking right now. Like, Carson Wentz last year threw 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. This year, yeah, he's 14 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. He's having a bad year. But every great quarterback has had a bad year. Ben Roethlisberger in 2006 threw 18 touchdowns and 23 interceptions.
Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Eli Manning.
So Eli Manning has had he's had a lot of bad years, you know? So bad years. I mean, I think his touchdown, is like win and loss record is like even,
yeah, it
right?
is. He's the even guy.
So he's had a lot of bad years. So people want to knock Carson Wentz after he's had 3 straight pretty good seasons. The 1 year he does bad, it's time to bench him for Jalen Hurts. If it was a better quarterback, I may be on board. But I think people think that Jalen Hurts is this generational guy. If you put Jalen Hurts in, yeah, you'll be more effective in running the ball and maybe some like wildcat plays, but he's not a better thrower of the football than Carson Wentz. So you'll downgrade in that area.
He's not a playmaker.
I just don't. I don't know. I disagree with that. I think Jalen Hurts just isn't what people think he is. There's some sort of emotional attachment to Jalen Hurts amongst fans because he's fresh out of college and he's shown he's a great leader. But I don't think he's that great of a quarterback, and definitely not good enough to try to start over Wentz right now.
I'll say this. Carson Wentz you could make an argument for the worst starting quarterback in the league this year. I mean, he entered this past week 32nd in completion percentage, 31st in yards per attempt. He had the most interceptions and the most sacks in the league. He was the lowest rated starting quarterback by PFF coming into the week. So, I mean, and on top of that, he was the lowest graded quarterback in the entire league on first down, which just kills the flow of the offense, and it shows in their offense throughout the season. The one thing, and I agree with you, I think that people are too reactionary these days, and I don't know if I would say I would bench him personally. The one thing that I really disagree with coming out of the Eagles is Doug Peterson said this past week that benching Wentz would send the wrong message to your football team that this season is over. And I could not disagree with that more. I think that the way Carson Wentz has played this year has hurt their playoff chances. And I don't know that many quarterbacks would be doing better in this system. And I do want to say to his defense, because it's something I'll mention about another quarterback later in the show, his receivers have not been good. I mean, Travis Fulgham has been solid, but other than that, he hasn't had a consistent receiver all year
Travis
long.
Fulgham is starting to get treated like a number one receiver.
Yeah, exactly.
Denzel Ward was on him a lot of snaps, and he was locking him down.
And that's the problem. If Travis Fulgham is getting guarded like a number one, who else is getting receptions? Greg Ward, Jalen Rieger's been hurt.
Alshon's been back. He hasn't did a lick.
His receivers have not been there whatsoever. His line has been very poor all season long, and that leads to at least some of the sack numbers. So the situation isn't great. The one thing that I would say is I think that drafting Jalen Hurts in the second round showed that they saw something in him. And right now, I think that football team at the top of the division needs a spark. And I think that Jalen Hurts could be a spark for that football team. I'm not saying that I think they should bench him or shouldn't bench him, but when it comes to Doug Peterson saying he thinks it would send the wrong message to the team by benching him, I disagree completely. I think it would send a good message to the team that they want to win this season, even at the cost of benching their quarterback who they're paying $100 million plus over the next 4 years. I think that it would send a message to the team that we want to win at all costs right now. Do I think he'll do better? Like you mentioned, I think the run game will be better, and maybe that's what they need because their receiving game hasn't been good this year. So maybe it would be a plus, but right now I don't see any avenue for the Eagles to be the team that we thought they were going to be this season.
I would say because the running game has been, I think Miles Sanders is top 5 in yards per carry. So he's been one of the lone bright spots this year. I would say blame has to go from top to bottom. I feel like everybody's blaming Wentz, and he's the quarterback, so he's going to get most of the blame. I think he deserves a lot of the blame, but I feel like Doug Peterson's play calling on offense deserves blame. I feel like the rush defense hasn't been what it's been over the past 4 or 5 years. It's been pretty down this year. I think the receivers, obviously, you guys haven't been healthy. We're paying Deshaun about $10 million. We're paying Alshon about $13 million. They haven't been healthy. Travis Fulgham, like you said, he's been good, but you put a number one corner on him. What does he do? He's quiet all game. Jalen Rieger,
because he's not a number one.
Yeah, Jalen Rieger, he'll be better down the line. This is rookie
Travis
year.
Fulgham is just, I think Travis Fulgham is just adjusting to the coverage. I think he's going to be really good.
I just think he's never had the
maybe he can be a number one down the line, but right now I don't think he's a guy that you could put at the number one spot. And
Richard Rodgers has been your most consistent receiver.
Think about that.
And the one that Carson Wentz trusts the most. When I watch,
I think he trusts Dallas too.
I think Richard Rodgers just took that spot though. When I just watched the game, because Dallas, I see Richard Rodgers and that Wentz connection much more.
Because Dallas is getting guarded like how Zach Ertz was getting guarded, because he's taking that spot because Zach has been hurt. And that's another guy who's playing horrible. He didn't fell off too. So I think this roster is one of the oldest in the league, and also we put in a lot of cap in this roster. So now we're gonna have to make a huge adjustment.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we're probably gonna rock with Carson Wentz next year. We got Travis Fulgham. He's young. We got to pay him. Jalen Rieger's young. Miles Sanders. So we have young talent. Yeah. But we just got to figure out. Everybody has to take blame. We need a new play call. I saw on the Eagles page they might make a push for that Eric Bellini guy.
Eric Bieniemy?
Yeah, I hope so.
Bellini.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, but everybody. I'm tired of everybody blaming Wentz. Everybody deserves blame. Wentz gets about 35% of the blame. And then that's when we start dodging it to everybody else.
What I think is an important date, October 11, 2018, Carson Wentz had a back fracture. And since then, he's played 34 games. He's thrown 63 touchdowns, he's had 32 fumbles, and he's had 27 interceptions. I think it has to do with it. I think it definitely has something to do with it.
I was going to ask that question before you move on, is he has never been the same since that MVP season. Is he ever going to get back to that level, or did they make a mistake in paying him all that money hoping that he would?
Well, think about that year. That year, that was an impressive year. We had a great run. We had guys who knew their role. Everybody was happy. The O-line was playing great. We had receivers. We didn't have like a number one. We had guys who just knew what to do.
Yeah.
We fast-tracked this year. Alshon's unhappy. We got guys coming off the practice squad. Carson Wentz, a lot of the times he has to run out the pocket and make a play. He seems a little timid with the guys he's throwing the ball to. He throws the ball too long. So to get back to the MVP level, I feel like he just has to find his confidence. That year you saw him. He was lighting the league on fire, and now he's confident. He's unconfident. He doesn't throw the ball like he used to. He's hesitant a lot of times. Sometimes he tries to make a play by running when somebody's open. I don't think he trusts in his offense because he's been sacked so much. He just feel like he has to play hero ball all the time. So I think once we instill some confidence with our team, I think he'll be all right.
I think they were in a tough situation that year. They had to pay him because Nick Foles was coming off that Super Bowl MVP. So you had to show confidence that Carson Wentz was the guy. They were in a tricky situation. Did they pay him prematurely? Yes. Was it the right decision to pay him? Yes.
It was just bad timing.
If he didn't get paid that year, he was going to get paid after he threw 27 touchdowns and 7 interceptions last year. If he would have got paid this past year, he would have got paid regardless.
Probably.
This is just the one season he has an off year, and I think we have to give it time before we label him as whatever title people want to start labeling Carson Wentz.
Yeah, and I think that even if you bench him this year, I'm not saying give up on him forever unless Jalen Hurts comes in and is Lamar Jackson. I think that even if you bench him this year for Jalen Hurts, it could be just a this year thing or this game thing and test it out while also believing Carson Wentz can be your franchise guy. Maybe the situation just isn't good for him right now.
Yeah. Carson Wentz, people are thinking about benching him, but Tua actually got benched. Tua Tagovailoa got benched. I think it was late in the third quarter or early in the fourth.
Yeah.
Early in the fourth, he got benched.
I need Jack to go first here.
In all honesty, I got a lot to say about this subject, but I'll let you. If you guys want to go first, you guys can go first.
How long are you? Because I
don't think I'll say too much. I think maybe like a minute, 2 minutes.
I want to hear what you say first.
So
before you speak, I just want to read this quote by Ryan Fitzpatrick before you even speak and go on your little 1 to 2 minute monologue here. He says, "It's very clear this is Tua's team," Fitzpatrick says. "Tua is going to continue to get better and grow. There is no controversy. It's his team, and he's going to continue to lead the team. We just have to all pull in the right direction." So before I hear what you have to say, I just want you to understand that Fitzpatrick believes that this is Tua's team.
Of course he does. Who cares?
Yeah.
What I'm going to say is that
here we go.
Did Tua deserve to get benched yesterday? He didn't. The only bad, alarming decision that I've seen from him was in the first quarter where he threw the ball rolling to his right, kind of like an awkward throw, and Justin Simmons intercepted it. I didn't see enough throughout the game for Tua to get benched. He after that bad decision, I didn't see him make any other bad decision. By the way, that interception was called back, so it didn't show up in the stat sheet.
But
whatever. Ryan Fitzpatrick came in, and Fitzpatrick's first drive, he was about to throw an interception, but it got dropped. He led the team down the field. They had a chance to score and tie the game up. Justin Simmons makes a great play on the ball and intercepts it. And I don't think that pass and that play was on Fitz. Yeah, I just thought that was a great play by Justin Simmons. He was all the way on the other side of the field and made that play. With that being said, Tua has not been impressive so far. He has not been somebody to me that I look at and I'm like, wow, I see something special. I see something great. Tua, he can be a good quarterback. He can be a game manager-esque quarterback. That's who he's going to be. He's not that guy. He's not going to be that guy for the Dolphins. He's not going to be that guy for any other team. He was a great college quarterback. He won't be a great NFL quarterback. And the Dolphins roster is starting to come along right now. Brian Flores is a great coach. Their defense is top 10. They're getting some more offensive pieces. They're just going to continue to build. They have a pick in this draft to maybe draft a quarterback, But outside of Trevor Lawrence,
Wait a minute.
Outside of Trevor Lawrence, there isn't a franchise guy that I think that you could spend the pick on. I think Justin Fields is good, but is he Trevor Lawrence-esque?
Ohio State quarterback.
Zach Wilson. He's had a great year. Do I believe in him? He's kind of short. He has a great arm. He's not that mobile. Trey Lance, I'm not sold on either. The guy the right decision is only Trevor Lawrence if you're trying to give up Tua, right?
That's not going to happen.
And so if
any team, not to cut you off, if any team could do it though, it is the Dolphins because they have enough draft capital.
Yeah. But Jets won't do that. But what I'll say is that Tua is a game manager. He's not going to be the franchise quarterback for the Dolphins. He's just not. And the decision for the Dolphins to pass up on Justin Herbert is going to haunt them. Because the Dolphins will be a good team. They'll be competitive. But we're always going to look back and be like, they didn't reach their peak or they didn't reach their maximum potential because the quarterback position was always holding them back, which happens to a lot of teams. We saw that with the 49ers last year. Great teams, you need a great quarterback to win, and Tua is not that. He's a game manager. And I think if you can, in the offseason, if there's a guy, you talked about Dak to 49ers. What if Dak goes to Miami? I think Dak, you got to get a guy who's shown glimpses of greatness and can be that guy. Tua's not that guy. He's a game manager at best. The decision not to draft Justin Herbert will haunt the Dolphins for as long as his run continues.
This might get heated.
You and I both know that's not going to happen. Dak Prescott to the Dolphins.
It might not happen, but I think it should.
You said a lot of things just now.
Okay. Let me start. I first want to talk about the original topic at hand.
Please go there first.
So you look at the game. I don't think the Tua played bad. He didn't play good. He was just average. And I want to give credit to the Broncos because a lot of people have talked about the Dolphins. The Broncos defense was terrific. They played great. And the Broncos have been one of the most unfortunate teams all year because they stayed healthy. They really could have at least made some people's lives a lot tougher this season. But with all the injuries they've had, you haven't seen them at full strength. They played really well, and that defense was awesome. Tua was sacked 6 times. He didn't really get any help from his receivers creating separation.
I'll say half of those sacks were on him holding the ball too long.
Yeah, at least half of his sacks were on him holding the ball too long. His receivers didn't get great separation. I'll say that too. And he faced pressure on 44% of his dropbacks, which is not great. Not a great situation to put your rookie quarterback in. And the offensive line has been much better the last 3 starts coming into this one. But like I said, he didn't play well by any means. The reason he got benched is because when you look at it, the Dolphins were down 20-10 with 10:44 left when Fitzpatrick came in. In Fitz's 6 starts with the Dolphins, their offense averaged 354 yards a game, as opposed to Tua in his 4 starts, they averaged 240 yards a game. And other than that,
big drop off.
Other than that one drive against Arizona towards the end of the game where I believe he tied it up at 27, you haven't like you said, he's been more of a game manager than anything. That one drive against Arizona, I feel like he showed signs of, okay, this guy can be something. Other than that, they've been babying him into this offense. And you know just as well as I do, Ryan Fitzpatrick, he is going to be the hero or the zero in the game. And that is what the Dolphins needed. They didn't need Tua to be a game manager for the last 10 minutes and 44 seconds. They wouldn't have won the game. The offense was not doing anything. With Ryan Fitzpatrick, at least you have a chance that he will come out and be that hero and make the plays downfield that I don't think Tua, they'll put him in that position right now.
So, okay. Is Tua that guy?
I don't think it's fair to judge him after 4 games. And here's another point I'll make on Tua.
Sometimes you know. When you know.
Tua Tagovailoa, before 4 weeks ago, did not compete in any football whatsoever for a year. So you're bringing a guy from never playing in a football game over the course of a year to starting to ease him back into the offense. And we all agreed on that over the past 3 weeks. They've babied him into the offense. They've been running a lot of play action, a lot of short routes. They haven't been forcing him to do too many things that you would expect out of an elite quarterback. So, he hasn't been Justin Herbert. I'm not under any illusion that he has been. But I don't think it's fair to judge him 4 games into his career. Do I think that Justin Herbert will have a better career based on what we've seen? 100%. And people will look back at that draft, I think, and say, wow, they missed on Justin Herbert. But I don't think that that should be an indictment on Tua. And I do think that Tua can be their franchise guy. I'm not ready to say he's not.
Not a chance.
Not a chance. He just went on and told me their offense was better with the journeyman quarterback than with the fifth overall pick.
They threw more yards?
I said in the position they were in a better spot to put Ryan Fitzpatrick in.
No, but you told me they averaged 100 more yards with Fitz than without.
Yes, because they run the offense differently.
So, okay. You know that what Tua is known for is RPO. Ryan Fitzpatrick, when he got into the game yesterday, he ran about 3 to 4 plays RPOs. He went about 3 to 4 RPOs. I barely saw Tua running the RPOs yesterday. Watching the game, I didn't see it.
I think that your analysis on Tua saying he's not a franchise player
because he's not
4 games,
he's not,
is a little immature. Because it, like Jack said, they've been babying him and slowly getting him into the offense. And not to mention, the Dolphins aren't. They're just scratching the surface of what they can truly become. So then you tried to say, and then you tried to bring up the Niners last year and try to make it seem like it was Jimmy G's fault that they lost the Super Bowl.
They did because of Jimmy G. Did you see the game?
Did you forget the defense gave up points in the 4th and they had the big lead? Did you see
the last drive where he missed Emmanuel Sanders?
But don't blow it on. Don't make you're making it seem like a game manager can't lead a team to the Super Bowl.
Oh, I never said that. You can't win one though.
I mean,
in history, when is the last one besides Nick Foles and maybe Eli Manning? Like, old quarterbacks who've won the Super Bowl have been great quarterbacks. But Tom Brady, Peyton Manning.
Yeah, but to say what he's going to be after 4 games is crazy because they've been babying him into an offense.
No, I don't think it's crazy.
And like Jack said, he hasn't played football before that game 1 in damn near a year. Before he got hurt, Tua was without a doubt a top 2 pick going into the draft. People knew what Tua was going to be. Tua gets hurt. Then it was all these doubts. Oh, his hip. Oh, this, that. He comes in and gets drafted. That's his first time playing football, that game 1. So for you to judge him on 4 games, we hadn't played football prior to that in a year, that's immature.
I'm glad Tua wasn't the number 1 pick because if he was and he went to a team like the Bengals, we'd be calling him a bust right now
because he wouldn't have fallen to number 5 if he didn't have
if he had the injury, the narrative was tanking for Tua.
He wouldn't have been 1 though.
I don't know about that.
I think he might have been
1. I'm saying if he was number 1, that would have been the worst decision a franchise would have ever made.
Damn.
He also, if he was the number 1 pick, he would not be playing or he would not be coached the way he's being coached, and he'd be in a worse
situation.
You don't know.
Miami's a good situation. They're coaching Tua. They're coaching Tua like that because they know he can't do certain things. That's why they're coaching Tua that way. They're not coaching him the way because if he was as good as Justin Herbert, they'd be cultivating a totally different game plan around him.
So let me ask you a question. You think if Justin Herbert didn't play a year of football and then got drafted, and he would have been playing like this?
I think that there's a lot. I think that
playing like how he's playing now.
Yeah. Or they would have babied him into the offense. Be honest.
I don't know if they wouldn't have babied him into the offense because he's better than Tua. They're babying Tua because he's not as good,
or because he didn't play football for a year.
There's a lot more that goes into the way they're coaching Tua, in my opinion, at least, than you're giving credit to.
I'm just saying Tua is not that guy. When I see it, he lacks mobility. Even though he was known for his accuracy in college, he hasn't shown it as much in the NFL when he's had to make great throws. And this game was a prime example of that. He doesn't have great arm strength. He's short for the position. When you're short for the quarterback position, you got to be great athletically. You have to be able to run like Russell Wilson or Kyler Murray. Outside of Drew Brees, is not a guy who's been 6 foot, who's been succeeding. We see Baker Mayfield. He shouldn't have been the number 1 pick. And we know that now because he lacks mobility and he's short for the position. And he's another guy that came out of college and his accuracy was something to rave about. He was insanely accurate.
You talk about Baker and who?
Baker. I mean, when Baker, you got to be listening, man. But I'm just saying, Tua is not that guy. When you look at great quarterbacks, they're either so great athletically or they have great physical tools, like they're tall, they're 6'3", 6'5". Tua is not that. I don't see greatness from Tua. He's a game manager at most. And I'm telling you now, it may be premature to say it, but I feel comfortable saying it based off what I've seen. The Dolphins' downfall for the next couple of years will be the quarterback position. That's going to be their downfall.
I want to see at least a year out of Tua before I can feel comfortable saying that, or even say it's not premature to say. Just because, like every point that I've mentioned so far, he didn't play a year of competitive football. They would not have, in my opinion, started him at all if they didn't think that he was an NFL quarterback. They saw something in him that they thought, okay, we are a playoff team and we want him to be the quarterback at this time. I think it might have been a little premature to start him if they weren't ready to let him off the leash, but clearly they're not ready to let him off the leash, or they would have let him go with 10:44 to go in the fourth quarter yesterday.
You talk about babying into the offense, but I really don't think Brian Flores is that type of coach. I mean, if you saw the posting interviews and you've been seeing what Brian Flores is saying, he's a no BS coach. That's what he is. He's going to tell you how it is. They said, hey, was Tua injured? He didn't say yeah and lie and pretend to protect his quarterback. He said, no, we thought Fitzpatrick gave us a better chance. He's a straight up guy. He put Tua in because he believed Tua was better than Fitz at the moment. And I mean, Fitz, all respect to him, but he's a journeyman quarterback. It's not that hard to be better than Fitz if you're supposed to be a franchise guy. So I don't think they're babying him. I think this is just who he is. That's what I think.
I just think it's very premature to say that. What
I can say that.
So then what about the shootout against the Cardinals that he won the game for them? Was that a fluke?
Every game manager has a good game. It's like that. Game managers have good games. Like
so 25%.
Alex Smith almost won an MVP.
Like game managers, nothing wrong with being a game manager though.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. I just think
I'm just saying he's not a franchise guy.
If that's his floor, then I think that the Dolphins should feel fine with their pick, other than the fact that he was drafted ahead of Justin Herbert.
Yeah, he's kind of a game manager. What I think is that you shouldn't be fine with the pick because you pass on Herbert.
Well, that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, but that's what it's going to be compared to years down the line.
And I agree with you at the start of the segment that years down the line, they will more than likely be looking back and saying, we wish that we had just drafted Justin Herbert. But I don't think that means that Tua can't lead them to success.
I'm going to even go as far to saying this. This quarterback hasn't even played yet. But Jordan Love will be better than Tua. Book it.
But what basis do you have to that?
I just seen Jordan Love play. I've seen Jordan Love play, and I feel like he has way more potential.
You've never seen him play in an NFL game, though. So you're judging.
He's learning under Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur.
But let me ask you something. You're judging Tua based on his 4 NFL starts, but you're judging Jordan Love based on his Nevada career.
Why do you say
Nevada?
Like
we're not talking about Alabama or Clemson.
So Jordan Love.
We're talking about
am I going to bank on a guy in Jordan Love who's learning under one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in Aaron Rodgers and in a Matt LaFleur offense, which is very quarterback friendly? Didn't Jimmy G learn under Tom Brady? For a couple years, yeah.
Is he a game manager?
But Jimmy G does not have the talent Jordan Love has. Jordan Love's arm is phenomenal. He might throw the farthest ball out of. He might be top 5 in terms of arm strength in the NFL right now.
That's just a guess, though. I think it's unfair.
No, I don't think it's a guess. I think he has that.
No, I'm saying to take Jordan Love over Tua is a guess at this point.
No,
I think
it is a guess, but that's the guess I'm making. I'm not. I told you.
But what's your base of argument?
I told you I'm going out on the limb and saying it because I've seen Jordan Love, and I think the talent is good enough to where they're gonna develop him into a better quarterback. But I'm saying that's the guess I'm willing to take. I mean, all of these are guesses, but for me, I think they're educated guesses. I think from what I've seen. From what I've been educated on, I'm making a guess. So
this is just Joel hot take.
The hot take is Jordan Love.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Hot take. Jordan Love. Tua not being a franchise quarterback is not a hot take. No, that's a fact. That's a regular take. That's going to happen.
That's a regular take.
The Jordan Love one,
hot take.
It's a hot take.
Okay, so we agree on
I'll
that.
be honest about it.
That's crazy. That's OD though.
My only thing about it is, and that's fine. That's your hot take. But Tua also looked incredible at Alabama against better competition.
A better team too.
Yeah, of course.
Wait, what?
But I'm saying I think it's a little unfair to judge Jordan Love just based on how he played at Nevada.
Hold up. When once did I say that I think Jordan Love will be better based off his college career?
You said you watched him.
I've said potential wise and his
And what
physical
you've seen,
attributes.
You said you watched him
what
play.
I
I've
never, but hold up. But not once did I say I'm taking Jordan Love because of his touchdowns, quarterback rating, completion percentage. I just said I think he has more physical attributes than Tua. And I mentioned coaching.
Well,
I mentioned coaching and development. Yes, I think that was the first thing.
No,
I
people
mentioned.
No.
said,
The first
I've
thing you
seen
said was
tape.
I've watched him play.
Yeah, you said I've watched him
Yeah,
play.
I watched him play,
At
but
Nevada.
I didn't mention stats though. I'm talking about the eye test, just his arm strength. He has a way better arm than Tua, and he's more athletic than Tua.
I mean, the same.
And I don't have to watch him in the NFL and college and Tua in NFL and college to know that Jordan Love is better athletically and he has a better arm.
I
did not once mention his stats as an indicator as to why he'll be better.
I think that Tua is, I don't know how to word this correctly. I just think he's being a little unfairly judged this season because he's been playing in the same rookie class as two of the greatest rookie quarterbacks ever, statistically. So obviously the expectations are going to be higher, and I don't think that he was ready for that. I want to see him with a year of NFL experience under his belt because I thought that the Dolphins would have been better off sitting him all season and letting him learn under Fitzpatrick, learn the offense, get adjusted to NFL game speed and practice. Well, it's not exactly the same. I don't think he was ready to start this year. And I think that next year will be a more fair indicator of where he's at as a quarterback. But I do agree what we've seen out of him so far is a game manager.
Yeah, and like I said, what I said is going to happen.
Oh wow, this is a fact.
It's a fact.
Okay,
you can pull up the video 2-3 years from now. What I'm saying right now is a fact. It's going to happen. But now we're going to move off this non-franchise game manager quarterback. We're going to talk about a franchise quarterback, the quarterback that the Miami Dolphins should have taken, Justin Herbert. And the question is easy. Is Justin Herbert the runaway offensive rookie of the year? I'll start with you, Jack.
Yeah,
you thought I was going to start with you.
Yeah, I thought you was doing
it's not even close. The only person that probably, well, let me bring everything into play here. The person that was neck and neck with him, I think, or at least proverbially neck and neck, was Joe Burrow. And him going down on Sunday, unfortunately, he's out of the race. Well, you look at what Herbert's done, 68%, 2,700 yards, which is 300 yards a game damn near, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and the rookie touchdown record is 37, which he looks
27,
my bad.
Mm-hmm.
She's well on pace to beat. He should far and away be the winner. The one person now that I think will be the only guy to give him a run for his money, and I don't think he will win it, just because I think that Herbert has had much more of an impact, is Justin Jefferson. I wanted to mention him because you look at what he's done. He's on pace for 75 receptions and 1,355 yards, which is better than undoubtedly the greatest rookie receiving season of all time of Randy Moss. So Justin Jefferson in any other year would probably be the runaway favorite. But what Justin Herbert has done, the Chargers have not lost a single game by more than a touchdown this year. With their defense being as bad as it's been, and everything, the play calling, the coaching, the offensive line, the injuries, whatever it may have been, he's kept them competitive against good teams too, against really good teams. So for me, it shouldn't even be close. I think that Joe Burrow was the only guy that could have even made it a real competition. Now I think he's far and away the guy.
I think it's the easiest. I think Justin Jefferson is going to probably get a vote. CeeDee Lamb is probably going to get a vote. But I think in the end, since Joe Burrow was out with an injury, Justin Herbert is going to run away with this award. I don't think Tua is going to catch him at all. I think Justin Herbert would end up just running away with this award. I think they should give it to him now, to be honest.
There's a couple guys that have been having great rookie seasons. You mentioned
that running back from the Jaguars. Is he a rookie?
Yeah, James Robinson.
James Robinson. I was going to mention him, but first I'll mention Justin Jefferson. I mean, he's having the greatest rookie receiving season, arguably of all time. And he would have won it any other year if Justin Herbert wasn't having the greatest rookie quarterback season of all time. Mm-hmm. But these are some other guys that are having tremendous seasons. You talk about Chase Claypool. He has 10 touchdowns already on the year.
We was just talking about that.
He's on pace. He's on pace to break Randy Moss's record for touchdowns in a season.
What is that? 12?
17.
17,
I believe.
Jack.
I think it's 17.
But I tell you about Randy Moss just before this. I'm playing with him.
Look, you got James Robinson on the Jaguars. Antonio Gibson is good on the Washington. DeAndre Swift. But people cater to quarterbacks. And I think even if Justin Herbert wasn't having as phenomenal of a season as he's been having, the award would have went to a quarterback because quarterbacks typically get the edge. They're the ones that are fans' favorites. They're the ones that we see the most and we look up the most. So he was going to win it. But you talk about the rookie touchdown record, he's going to shatter that. The rookie touchdown record is 27 touchdowns. Herbert's on pace to get 37. The rookie passing yards record is held by Andrew Luck, 4,374 yards. Herbert is on pace to have 4,498 yards.
You pointing at me?
No, I'm just going like this. Yeah, 4,498 yards. He's on pace to break the rookie passing yards record, the touchdown record, and also completions record if he gets 397, which is what he's projected to get. So I think there's no doubt about it. He should be the runaway offensive rookie of the year. And this goes back to what I was telling you. The Dolphins have to be regretting this pick.
Can I ask a question?
Well, yeah.
Can I ask a question before you guys continue? Because I don't really, I'm not really in tuned into the college football world like you two are. Before the draft, right? Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Jordan Love, Tua. Was Justin Herbert projected to be this great?
He was not projected to be.
No.
Justin Herbert,
Justin
Herbert, by a lot of people, sorry to cut you off, but he was projected to be a bust.
Exactly. So this was like a surprise, like, oh wow, like we didn't know he would be this.
Because I mean, as much as you say Alabama quarterbacks don't usually make it, Oregon quarterbacks almost never make it because they don't run a pro system.
Okay.
And as much as he looks solid there, when you broke down the film, I would recommend you go and watch the draft preview of him done by the QB school. Okay. Great channel. I would recommend it to anybody on YouTube. I watch them all the time. He did a great breakdown on Justin Herbert in college. And I think it says a lot about him, how much he's come into the NFL and improved. I mean, he must be an incredible hard worker. He's been working with Pep Hamilton too, which has helped him tremendously. Right. But I totally agree with you. The Dolphins should be regretting the decision because Justin Herbert is having undoubtedly the best rookie quarterback season ever.
To be a bust, is it really their fault that they're
no? Yeah, it is because for evaluating it, because what goes into it is also why did he not succeed at Oregon as much as he did?
Right.
I mean, at Oregon, he had I think 3 or 4 different offensive coordinators. Never was in the same system, so now you have some continuity. That's how he can get better. And they ran a ton of screens at Oregon, so they limited what he could do.
Yeah, and even if you don't blame yourself, you can still, look back in hindsight and regret the pick. And they're going to do that if things keep going the way they are because Justin Herbert looks like he's going to be a Hall of Famer the way he's played.
The thing with Justin Herbert is that when you talk about physical attributes, Tua's not close. Herbert is 6'4", I think /6'5". He had the best arm in the draft.
Right.
Like if you counted on your coaching staff to develop this guy, then it was a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've seen this happen already, I think, a few times. I mean, people were wrong about Josh Allen. They were wrong about Lamar Jackson.
Including you.
They were wrong about who? Lamar Jackson?
No, Josh Allen.
Oh, Josh Allen?
Yeah.
What I said about Josh Allen is because I'm a Jets fan.
Oh, so you said out of hate.
Because I'm a Jets fan. Not out of hate, just because of my fandom. But before the draft evaluation, I was like, I wouldn't be mad if they just drafted Josh Allen. But, they've missed on a couple guys. Justin Herbert being the latest instance. A guy who does a great job at evaluating quarterbacks is Chris Sims at a CBS Sport, NBC, NBC Sports. I mean, this guy in the 2018 draft, he ranked, I think, Lamar Jackson 1 and Josh Allen 2.
Oh, so he hit it.
Like he hit it the head on the nail, whatever how you say that.
I think that's how you said.
And then last year, this last draft, I think he called Joe Burrow 1 and Justin Herbert 2. And I think he said Jordan Love 3 and 2 or 4, something like that. I know that the first two were Joe Burrow and
Sims?
Justin Herbert. Yeah, Chris Sims. He does a great job at evaluating the quarterbacks, and he's usually pretty right about this. But Herbert, look at this. He has the most the most touchdowns in his first. The most touchdowns in their first 9 career starts are number 1, Kurt Warner, Mahomes, then Watson, then Herbert is 4th with 21 touchdowns. He's one of the highest graded quarterbacks under pressure, only behind Mahomes. He's second to Mahomes, third is Wilson. So, this guy is really doing something phenomenal right now.
He's a star. The only question at this point is, and I know we have a couple Chargers fans watching, the only question now is where the organization goes from here because they need a new head coach. They need to work on that offensive line. I think the weapons are fine. I don't know how sustainable they are, but that receiving core, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, they're solid receivers. They have Eckler in the backfield.
Keenan Allen, I think he's an elite receiver.
Yeah. I mean, overall, the core I think is fine. The running backs are there. It seems like even with Eckler out, they've had a solid shuffle of running backs going in there. And the defense, I think once they get healthy, has enough building blocks. It's now just supplementing that talent and most importantly, getting the right head coach in the building. Bring in Eric Bieniemy. Keep him in the division. I don't see why he wouldn't want that job. That'll be the perfect job for him with a superstar type talent at quarterback and a pretty solid backbone to build around. I think that would be a perfect job and the perfect guy to bring in. But the coaching job is super important. And, building from there, they could be the next Chiefs.
Justin Herbert is just the latest great quarterback that we've been seeing glimpses of. But there are two teams right now that are in a race to get that next projected great quarterback, which is Trevor Lawrence. It's the Jets and the Jaguars. The Jets are 0-10 now. The Jaguars are 1-9. And the question is, who's going to secure that number one pick? Because I think if the Jets win one game and they both finish off with one game, the Jaguars get the first pick, right?
Because strength of schedule.
Exactly.
I know the Jaguars have the easier strength of schedule over the entire season, so they would get it.
You guys will lose every single game y'all play. There's no doubt about that.
So who is going to get the number one pick? Will it be the Jets or will it be the Jaguars?
Jets.
You want me to go?
Well, yeah, you could go.
I think we'll agree on this.
I think he's going to say the Jaguars.
I don't think that there's any way the Jets win a game. Okay, so first I'll name the Jaguars schedule. They have the Browns, which I think is a definite loss because the Browns have actually looked pretty solid. Granted, it hasn't been against the best competition. I think the Browns are a loss. The Vikings,
loss.
Probably a loss. The Titans a loss. The Ravens a loss. The Bears, who knows with them at this point in the season.
They're not going to score.
And the Colts a loss. The Jets have the Dolphins, which I think they're going to get blown out. There's no way they move the ball against that defense. They have the Raiders, going to be another blowout because the Raiders are a much better team than people give them credit for. The Seahawks, there is no chance.
They might put 50 on
There is no chance they stop Russell Wilson. The Rams, who we see them right now competing on Monday Night Football with the Bucs, I think they might actually be winning.
The Bucs are winning.
Okay, so they're at least in the game right now with a top 3 or 4 team in football. We're going to lose that one. The Browns, who I just said are going to beat the Jags, are also going to beat the Jets. And the Patriots, that's what it's going to come down to week 17. Can we lose to the Patriots week 17?
I'm not under the belief, like Joel is, that you guys have looked any types of better with Joe Flacco.
They have looked better.
I think you guys are still that same horrible team that you've been playing with.
They're still really bad, but they have definitely looked better.
Bro,
and the fact of the matter is,
we had 7 touchdowns, I think, in the first 8 games or the first 7 games.
Yeah, and
we have 7 touchdowns in the last 3 games.
It also helps that Adam Gase gave up the play calling duties. Although they're still not good, they're an improvement, which is not saying much. But Sam Darnold is also maybe coming back this week. He's supposed to practice on Wednesday. So if he plays, I think that's better for the Jets in terms of this because Sam Darnold, he's looked terrible with the Jets. And I don't think that's an indictment on Darnold as much as the Jets offense, but I don't care who they put out at quarterback. I don't see the Jets winning a single game this season. I think that the Jaguars have more winnable games on their schedule. And I think that they've looked better overall than the Jets at points in the season. Like, I think you could pinpoint more points this season where the Jaguars looked like a real NFL team than the Jets.
Jack, I can't believe what you're saying right now. And the reason I can't believe it is because do you want us to lose out on the number 1 pick? Like,
No.
do you want us to do it? Because right now, I just feel like you're jinxing the Jets.
Oh, well.
You're jinxing the Jets. There is a chance. I'm telling you, we know how second half Sam Darnold has looked in the past before. He looks like a franchise quarterback. Second half of the season, Sam Darnold has looked like a franchise quarterback with Denzel Mims, Crowder, and our healthy guys back. Is there a chance we can upset a team like the Browns? Yeah. Is there a chance we can upset a team like the Seahawks who have a bad defense?
No.
There is. The Patriots, as bad as they look, we almost upset them.
I'll let you slide on the Browns and Patriots.
This is what I'm saying.
The Patriots.
The Jaguars, they're not even pretending that they're trying. They're not trying at all. They have Jake Luton starting. He's
because Minshew's been hurt.
He's horrible. I know.
Who else are they going to start?
Minshew's
Mike
good.
Glennon?
That's what I'm saying though. Minshew's good, right?
Yeah, he is good.
And he's supposed to be back in the mix this week.
Jake Luton is bad. They're gonna Jaguars are gonna go 1-15. No doubt about it. The Jets just have to win one game and they'll fall to the second pick. And in my belief, Joe Flacco's not a bad quarterback. I think
he's not going to be starting this week.
I know, but Sam Darnold, is he one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the NFL? Yeah. But is he a bad quarterback?
No.
I wouldn't say that. Can we have a great performance, an outlier performance from Sam Darnold? We've seen it before. I'm not saying that we're gonna get it for sure, 100% guaranteed, because I would be jinxing the Jets. So I'm gonna say the Jaguars are gonna get it. Well, because I'm not jinxing the Jets. The Jaguars will get it. We need them to win one game. We're looking at the schedule right now: Browns, Vikings, Titans, Ravens, Bears, Colts. I think they could beat the Vikings or Bears.
And that's what I said. For me, if I'm gonna say I think the Jets can beat the Browns, then I think the Jaguars can also beat the Browns, because then we're just saying that we don't know what the Browns are week to week. So for me, that means if you're going to say the Jets have 2 winnable games in the Browns and Patriots, I will not give you the Seahawks, because their offense is going to hang a 50 spot on.
I don't know. I think that with all the stuff that's been going on between the two teams, the trades, I'm telling you, there's a storyline there. There's some tension. Yeah. There's some potential.
Jamal Adams might kill Sam Darnold.
Is that a hot take? Is that another?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying. Don't be surprised. Listen, I mean, you called it the Jets Super Bowl earlier in the season. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I had the Twitter DMs. You said, I don't care if we go winless. I just hope we win that game.
Oh,
yeah. Well, you called that game the Super Bowl. These players might be looking at it the same way.
That was at a way different point.
I know, but these players might be looking at it the same way.
What exactly did I tweet that game? Was that before the season started?
Probably. But
yeah, that was a totally different Jets team than we're talking about right now.
But I'm just saying, I cannot jinx the Jets and say they will for sure get the number 1 pick. I will say the Jags, and I will reap the benefits of not jinxing them when the Jets do get the number 1 pick.
Okay, I will say this. I don't speak in jinxes. When it comes to this, like, I'm just going to speak my mind, whether it's the Jets or any other team. You're looking at Sam Darnold is probably coming back this week, and the offense has been worse with him than without him, which I don't think is an indictment on Sam Darnold. We've spoken about that before. I think he could be fine elsewhere, but it's like an ugly relationship. It's best for both of them to just part ways. The Jaguars, you just said Gardner Minshew isn't that bad of a quarterback, and he's supposed to be back in the mix this week. So even if he's not starting this week, he should be back by next week. So that just means the Jags are getting better and the Jets are getting worse. And I think the Jags have an easier schedule over the end of the season. I mean, when you look at it, out of the remaining games, on paper, the Jags have the 4th hardest schedule and the Jets have the 6th hardest schedule based on strength of schedule. Well, personally, I look at it. I think they can beat the Browns. I think they can beat the Patriots. I think they can beat the Vikings, because those are 3 teams the Bears, the Vikings, the Browns.
Yeah, we get it. Like, the schedule is going to be rough for both of them. We're not sure.
I don't know if the viewers can see my chair. My chair is made of wood. I'm knocking on wood. So my jinx this is no longer a jinx. I'm just stating my football opinion. I don't see the Jets have not shown me anything to believe that they can win a game. Even when they've looked good against the Patriots, they got to 6 minutes left in the game with the football on the 20-yard line, and they aired out a 60-yard bomb. Like, that is a team that's actively trying to lose a football game. You can't convince me otherwise. Joe Flacco knows what's at stake. He wants to play well, but when it comes down to it, he's the tank commander, and we love him for it.
I'd like to believe that, but I'm not 100% sold. But enough of this tanking job and these 2 horrible franchises. Now we're going to recap some games that happened. 2 notable games that happened were the Titans and Ravens and Packers and Colts. We're going to 2 AFC South teams. We're going to talk about the Titans and Ravens first. And simple question, has the league figured out the Baltimore Ravens? What do you think, Riv?
What'd you call me?
I called you Reeve.
I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I think it's really starting to really look into form. Teams are starting to really catch up to them. And, the Ravens blew a lead that game. They was up. They was winning and looked like they was going to be okay. And then they just lost the lead. And then you see that at the end, Derrick Henry with the big run and OT to get the W. And I feel like the Titans, and it's funny because they had a fight or they had a little scuffle before the game with Malcolm Butler and the coach. So I feel like the Titans just have the Ravens' number. I think they have their heart right now. It's like they snatched their chain. And I think the Ravens, I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs this year because everybody's starting to figure out their offense, and Lamar is starting to look more and more vulnerable as the weeks come, and the receivers are starting to look bad. Shout out to Dez, though. He had 4 catches.
I agree with you. The Ravens might not be a playoff team this year, but I think that's more just because the conference has been great.
Dolphins are there, Raiders are there.
And we had this discussion last week talking about the Raiders, how good the conference has been. We talked about the Eagles before, and I mentioned how I wanted to give Carson Wentz some excuses, for me, reasons why he hasn't played this well. I think that Lamar Jackson is getting all of the blame here, and I don't think it's all his fault. I think that you need to look at they didn't bring in a number 1 wide receiver. Marquise Brown, at least at this point in his career, is not a number 1 wide receiver, and I think that's become painfully clear. They haven't given him that elite wide receiver talent. The offensive line has taken big hits between Marshall Yanda leaving and then Ronnie Stanley getting injured. So that's 2 huge losses. The running game has still been elite this season. They've been one of the top running offenses in the league, but the passing offense hasn't been there. And I think there's a lot of factors. I have not seen that improvement in Lamar's game. It's the same thing it was last year. He'll make a couple nice throws in a game, but when it comes down to it, in a 2-minute drill, you just can't trust him. And that's not a good thing for a team. But I also think that some of it has to go on the Ravens' shoulders as the line isn't there. The receiving weapons aren't there. And we talked about Lamar Jackson a couple of weeks, or might have been last week, when he said the defenses were calling out the plays. The offense has become predictable. And I don't think it should land on any one person's shoulders, because I've heard people tell me that Lamar Jackson is the worst starting quarterback in the league, which is just outrageous.
Who are you talking to?
Yo, word.
Multiple people actually agreed with that statement. So, I think that it's a lot of recency bias. You're talking about Lamar Jackson, who just came off an MVP season. Am I saying he's the best quarterback in the league? Am I saying he's top 5? No, but he's one of the youngest quarterbacks in the league. Let's cut him some slack, figure out an elite wide receiver there, and get our offensive line pieces back before we totally write him off as a quarterback. There's a lot of issues there that have gone into what has happened to the Ravens.
Before I give my take, I'm going to just put out this tweet that I tweeted last year.
Oh, here you go.
I said this on Twitter. If you want, follow me on Twitter.
Don't follow him.
95% of my takes
trolling.
are correct. The Ravens running attack is great. This is what I said. The Ravens running attack is great.
I told you stop listening.
It's hiding a lot of Lamar Jackson's flaws thus far. Until I can see Lamar Jackson win a game when the running game isn't going, I won't give him credit. These numbers are inflated. Maybe the most inflated I've ever seen. I still stand by this statement. Last year, I called Lamar Jackson no-arm Lamar. I still call him that to this year. I have yet to see him win a game with his arm. That's why I call him no-arm Lamar. He's inaccurate. With all that being said, I will also say this. You're right. You got to cut Lamar some slack. He doesn't have a number 1 wide receiver. Marquise Brown was obviously the wrong pick. They should have took DK or Terry McLaurin. AJ Brown should have went before him. These are guys that are better. Marquise Brown hasn't proven to be that. The offensive line has been injured. Marshall Yanda retired. But also, I just think it's on Lamar having to audible and kind of read defenses sometimes, and he's not the best at that. I've said his strength is running. He's an elite runner of the football. He's not a great or an elite thrower of the football. He still has to get that. He still has to figure that part of his game out. When talking about if the Titans have them figured out, I don't think so. What was the major move that they made in the offseason to make sure Derrick Henry doesn't run for 200 yards again? They traded for Calais Campbell, who wasn't playing yesterday. Calais Campbell. He's one of the best run defenders in the NFL. If Calais Campbell was playing, I think the game would have been much different. But he was playing. But he wasn't playing. So Derrick Henry got over 100 yards, and the game was still extremely close. The thing is his receivers aren't good. They went from the first ranked offense last year to the 12th this season. There's something obviously wrong there. And Lamar Jackson has kind of looked human, right? Like last year, people thought he was this guy, but he had 19 touchdowns in the red zone, I think like with under 10 yards. So his touchdowns weren't impressive. You look at the numbers, and they were great, but they weren't impressive. And when you look at the history of Lamar Jackson and the teams that he's faced, the Ravens beat up on horrible, bad to average teams. They lose to the good and great ones. And that's just how it's been.
I disagree with that. I know for one instance specifically, they beat the Patriots last year, the best defense in football, by 2 touchdowns.
They beat the Seahawks too.
So I mean, they
also beat the Niners.
I get what you're saying. A majority of their wins though have come against bad teams, but it's not like he's never.
I'm pretty sure they're 500 or they're under 500 against teams that made the playoffs.
It's not like he's
probably
never
worse this year than it was last year.
Yeah, it's not like he's never won a game against a good team. I just think that a lot of people are writing off Lamar Jackson so quick after he had such a great season last year, and I don't think that it's fair under the circumstances. It's the same thing that's happening to Wentz.
If they don't, what?
It's the same thing that's happening to Carson Wentz.
It's different because Lamar just won the MVP, so it's like kind of different. But my thing is, he just wins the MVP this year. If they don't make the playoffs, what do you think is the Ravens' direction?
He's still their quarterback. It's just about getting a wide receiver.
Who do you think they try to get though?
I would do anything in my power to get an elite wide receiver. I don't know who it is, and I don't know where they're going to find it, but it feels like every season there's one that becomes available. Or
I think AB will be a free agent.
Even if it's in the draft, if you have to trade up and get somebody in the draft, it's supposed to be a pretty solid wide receiver draft. So
the Ravens could have got AB now. They're not getting him because he has character issues.
There's got to be something. I don't know what the move is specifically, but they have to go out and get an elite receiver.
Yeah, I think after this year, they're going to realize, man, forget that. We need him.
I don't think so. I think there's a culture in Baltimore. They're going to stick to that culture. But maybe we can see a situation where Greg Roman might get fired after 2 seasons.
And it's funny you say that because I was going to ask you, do you think that he is better off or worse off if Greg Roman gets the boot?
If Greg Roman gets the boot, that running attack won't be the same.
Yeah.
But it depends on who you bring in as an offensive coordinator. It's just weird because Lamar Jackson's strength is running the ball. We're not sure how he's going to look if he has to drop back 30 to 40 times a game because he hasn't been doing that to this point in his career. So it takes an offensive coordinator that is going to have a balance or maybe lean more run heavy, but also allow Lamar Jackson to play freely when passing the ball as well.
Because if you look at Greg Roman, and we've had this discussion, every year that he's been an offensive coordinator, whether it was with the 49ers, with the Bills, he's been top 5, or I should say bottom 5 in passing attempts, top 5 in running attempts. He's just a run system. And you look at Colin Kaepernick, Tyrod Taylor, he's always had running quarterbacks. So I wonder if a system change would be better for Lamar or worse for Lamar, because we haven't seen him in anything else. It's the only system we've seen him in, and he's been so good in it, at least to start. You know, it's such an unknown going anywhere else, going in any other direction.
Yeah, we talked about the Titans and the Ravens game. Now we're going to talk about the Colts and the Packers game. The Packers lost to the Colts. Was the Colts win over the Packers a statement win? What is your impression of the Colts now that they beat the Packers? I want to start with you because you're a Colts hater.
No,
you're a Phillip Rivers hater specifically. No. Yes, you are. You're a Phillip Rivers hater. I want
to start by saying I apologize because unlike you, I can admit when I'm wrong. When you're wrong half the time. I want to apologize to Colts fans. I was wrong about the Colts. They are a pretty dominant team. I think it was a great game though. I think for the most part, I think it was a really great game. I think they was fighting back and forth. I think this win over the Packers, and then they beat the Titans, and they I think they beat the Titans, they beat the Packers. I think these wins are now starting to put the Colts in that upper echelon area in the AFC. Not Steelers and the Chiefs, but I think now you're starting to talk about them right under them as a team that can really make it difficult. So I like this win. This win was really impressive, and I think the Colts can make a run in the playoffs. I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon, and I think they'll probably win their division.
Stay where you're at. Nobody wants you on the Colts
You're a Jets
bandwagon.
fan.
You stick with the
You're a Jets
Titans
fan.
like you picked them. I can't even believe
You're a Jets
I
fan.
can't even believe you're hopping off the Titans bandwagon when the Colts and Titans have the same record right now. But nonetheless,
Nah, I like them. They're more aggressive.
the
I like
Colts, this was a statement win. And I'm not even sure if this is more a testament to how good the Colts are or how much pretenders the Packers are. Because I've been saying the Packers are pretenders since the beginning of the season. I don't care about the record. I don't care about their wins. I think the Packers are pretenders. They won't make it to the Super Bowl. But when you look at the Colts, they have the 5th ranked defense. They finally climbed in and now have a top 10 offense, even though their offense is it's not that good. Like, I think that if they play a good defense, they won't be that good offensively like they were against Green Bay. But I just feel like their defense has to get a majority of the credit. Sure, their offense was good. Jonathan Taylor finally had a pretty good game, one that he hadn't had in a while. But it's just their defense, man. It's suffocating. You got guys like DeForest Buckner, who was huge for them. But I think a bigger part of their defense is their secondary. They're so disciplined. They're well coached. You got guys like Xavier Rhodes, Rock Ya-Sin, Julian Blackmon, who's a rookie, who's fantastic. And then you got a guy like Kenny Moore. I mean, there was an interception that Rock Ya-Sin had on Aaron Rodgers where he totally baited him on the play. It looked like kind of a deep rod. I don't know who he was throwing it to. He's throwing it to Devontae Adams, or I'm not sure who he was throwing it to, but Rock Ya-Sin baited him perfectly into that interception. And Rock Ya-Sin is a second-year player. So for him to be doing that is pretty amazing. I mean, their defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus, has done a great job at coaching this defense. And that's the reason why the Colts are where they are. Do I think it was a statement win? I'm not sure. I think the statement win was more against Tennessee. That was a statement win. Versus Green Bay, I expected the Colts to win. I picked the Colts to win in the pickups. So I was expecting them to win. I'm still not sold on the Packers, and I don't think I'm going to get sold on them anytime this year.
I think the craziest thing about the win, I had to pull this stat up. Aaron Rodgers in his career is 95-4 with a 2-touchdown lead. So for the Colts to come back against him, who, you know, obviously with that stat, he's been so proficient with a big lead. For them to come back, it was super impressive. And I think that this was their statement win. I think that the Titans game kind of put people on notice, including myself. And this game really showed, okay, they're here to compete, and they're really here. You know, I think that I've never been too high on Phillip Rivers, and especially at this point in his career, I'm not that high on him. I think if they still had a guy like Andrew Luck at quarterback, they could be Super Bowl contenders this year.
No doubt about it.
I don't think that they are at that level right now, just because I don't know that they have the firepower that a team like the Chiefs, who we'll talk about in a few minutes, have. But they'll make people's lives definitely tougher come playoff time. I think not only are they a playoff team, I could definitely see them getting an upset in the playoffs.
They can get an upset. They just won't. That's as much as they're going to go. The Colts have a ceiling because of that offense. That's what
exactly.
It is.
Because that defense is one of the best units in the league.
And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like whenever I watch the Packers in prime time, whether it be last year when they faced,
they lose.
No, not that. They do lose. I think they're 500 in prime time. Aaron Rodgers is, and he's 500 on the road. But when you watch the Packers, like last year versus the Lions, Monday Night Football, there's always these questionable calls that always land in the Packers' favor. I damn near thought the Colts were about to blow the game, which is they had the game sealed. They just had to run out the clock, and they kept getting penalty after penalty after penalty. I mean, Packers had 7 penalties. The Colts had 8 penalties, but the Packers' penalties accounted for 45 yards, while the Colts' penalties accounted for 116 yards.
I will say, though, all of those holding calls on the Colts at the end of the game were holding calls. You can't dispute it.
Last year, the 2 face masks against Trey Flowers were bogus calls.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the past. I'm just talking about last night.
I know what you mean, but I just feel like things kind of always go in the Packers' favor in terms of these calls. I mean, even against I feel like in the playoffs, they had a favorable call go their way, I think against Dallas. I'm not too sure if it was against them, but they have these favorable calls go their way. But I just think that I kind of agree with you now that you said it. The Titans was kind of a game that put people on notice because you were not sold on the Colts even after they beat the Titans. But now that they beat a team like the Packers that is nationally recognized, that's more of a statement win.
I'll say this. I picked the Colts this week, and if they did not beat the Titans, I would not have picked them. There's no question about it. For me, that Titans game really showed me that they could hang with the big dogs. And then this game told me, okay, like not only can they hang, but they can win a couple of these games. And for me, I think it's the offense that's going to hold them back from being one of those elite teams in the league. But I think that they can hang with anybody.
It really just depends on the development of Michael Pittman. Probably.
I think he's going to be a star too.
And I think he's going to be really good, but it just depends because is T.Y. that bona fide number one guy? He's not.
Not anymore.
Not no more.
Like, and Michael Pittman, like who's their second receiver? Who's their go-to number?
They got to
two?
figure that out. It's not Pascal.
Don't know who it is. Exactly. Like Pascal is pretty good, but is he your number two that you rely on all the time? He's not.
And I think it's funny you bring up Pittman because in any other year he would be getting, big recognition, but considering the class that there has been this season, it's hard to get any recognition because he probably hasn't even been a top 5 rookie receiver. He also has to deal with the injury. I understand that, but I think he can be a real guy for that offense moving forward. And I said that coming out, I wanted him to be a Jet, but unfortunately he didn't get to their pick.
So now we're going to go to our second to last segment of the show.
Yeah.
NFL Pick'em Week 12. I went 8-5 in my picks last week. I don't know if you guys counted yours, but I know I counted mine. Went 8-5.
You went 8-5 last week?
Yeah.
What about did we cut the Chiefs?
What do you mean?
The Chiefs topic?
Oh, yeah. Oh, we got to talk about the Chiefs. I forgot about the Chiefs. I didn't even write that down. So we got to talk about the Chiefs first. Okay.
I mean, this is pretty brief. I think that we'll all actually agree on this one. I think this will be a rare topic that we all agree on.
Do you have the Chiefs topic, the name?
Are the Chiefs still the team to beat?
Okay, yeah. You can start it off. Are the Chiefs still the team to beat?
I mean, we've been saying this for weeks now.
Yeah.
I've literally been saying it in every power ranking, every pick 'em. As much as the Steelers have been the most impressive team this season to me at 10-0, it's hard to say anything otherwise. The Chiefs have been since February and will be until they prove without a doubt otherwise the team to beat. And for me, there is only one example you need. Last night, when you were watching that game and the Raiders scored, did you have any doubt that the Chiefs were going to come back in that football game? For me, I saw the time on the clock and I said, that's too much time for Patrick Mahomes.
And it's getting pretty much to the point where if they have a drive, even if it's under like 50 seconds, you have faith that the Chiefs are going to find a way.
Yeah, and it's their offense is just ridiculous. Clyde Edwards-Helaire he's been in the Rookie of the Year conversation too. He's having an incredible year.
I just don't know why Jonathan Abrams dropped down on that last play. You just got to let Mahomes run.
Yeah.
You can't leave Travis Kelce that wide open. I felt like they were going to have a lapse in defense because I kind of saw them and they were kind of discombobulated a little bit.
And they were just chewing up yards.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, when you look at how do you guard Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Mecole Hardman, I could go on and on. The weapons are just ridiculous, along with a guy who's trending to become arguably the greatest quarterback of all time based on what we've seen so far.
And I've called him that.
Yeah.
Last year, before he won the Super Bowl, I said, based off what I'm seeing alone, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback that I've ever seen.
It would take an incredible heel turn for him not to at least be in that discussion by the end of his career. Because and I've been one of the guys to bring up the fact that he's been put in a great position, but like, where is that going to go? Is he ever not going to be in a good position? Because the Chiefs have done such a good job, even when there's holes filling them. And the fact of the matter is, the defense doesn't even have to be an elite unit. It just has to be average. Their defense last year was average at best. And they played better towards the end of the year, but they didn't win games because of their defense. They won because nobody can stop them. They went down every playoff game. And the fact when you have Patrick Mahomes, it's just, you're never out of the game. You're never out of it. And for me, when you compare the Steelers and the Chiefs, who have been, I think, the two teams in the league this year that are at the top, I trust the Chiefs defense to stop the Steelers offense more than I trust the Steelers defense to stop the Chiefs offense.
Oh, not yet.
And that's no offense to the Steelers defense because they have an incredible unit.
When talking about that, the only other team that you would put above the Chiefs is the Steelers. And I just don't think the Steelers schedule has been good enough for me to say
exactly
Yeah, they're the team to beat. I mean, the Chiefs are the reigning Super Bowl champions, and they don't have a Super Bowl hangover at all, like the Eagles and Carson Wentz did back when they won it. Like they are ready to go. They are winning
what you mean we
games.
had a hangover?
You guys had it. You
We
guys
made the
weren't.
playoffs next year.
You guys weren't as good though. You guys weren't.
I thought the
dominant.
hangover is like
The Chiefs are still a dominant football team.
Yeah.
And we talk about early in the season, we talked about Wilson, we talked about Allen, we talked about Kyler. People forgot about Mahomes. I think he's for sure
He's the
should
MVP.
be the MVP this season. He should be a two-time MVP after this season. The Chiefs just have it all.
I still think the Steelers are one of the teams to beat. I think,
but are they the team, number one team to beat? I don't think so.
And the one Chiefs loss, I just want to remind everybody, the one Chiefs loss was against the Raiders, who it looked bad at the time, but I think we've seen the Raiders are legit. Again, Derek Carr is back. Maybe not at that MVP type form that he was before the injury, but he's playing great football.
He's playing just as good, if not better, than his MVP season.
Too.
But it's not even. I think,
and then it's a division opponent too. I remember even when the Jets were terrible and the Patriots still had Tom Brady, it seemed like every time the Jets would at least put a fight up. And division opponents are tough.
Derek Carr's a guy who I love, and I like that yesterday on national television, he got to throw 3 touchdowns against the Chiefs, and people got to see like, oh, this guy is really good, because they've been disrespecting him for so long. I mean, I know on mainstream media, they created this division between Gruden and Carr, Gruden doesn't want Carr. Carr isn't this, Carr isn't that. He's not a leader. There was a bunch of these false narratives, and Derek Carr has always been an underrated guy, under the radar guy, especially. Yeah. And I think he proved to everybody, a nationally televised audience, that he's this good.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs, to your point, just have been better. And they weren't about to lose to the Raiders twice, even though I thought it was a possibility. I thought it was close to happening, but they just, their offense is too dominant. They're just
on a different level.
You can't give them the ball in overtime, have the first possession at it.
Yeah.
If you give them first possession in overtime, the game is over. You're not seeing the ball back.
And I know I said this to start the segment, but I don't think there's any other offense in the league that if you gave them the ball with 1.5 minutes left, you would sit back confident that they were going to score a touchdown. And I promise you, no doubts that they were going to score a touchdown. And it's funny because my fantasy team was down by 6 going into that possession. I had Patrick Mahomes left, and my opponent had Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And I said, oh, man, I need 75 yards in the air and a touchdown. And then I said, it's Patrick Mahomes. What am I worrying about? And needless to say, he goes out, throws 75 yards and a touchdown. And not only did the Chiefs get the win, I get the win, and everybody goes home happy.
We talked about the Chiefs this segment.
Well, before Chiefs play Bucks next week on Sunday.
We're going to talk about it in the pick'em. So who we got. But we talked about the Chiefs, but to not even talk about them, a guy I really want to point out and highlight is John Gruden. He's a hell of a play caller.
Yeah.
He's one of the best in the NFL. And I love John Gruden. And I'm glad people are cutting John Gruden slack, because when he got that 10-year, $100 million contract to coach the Raiders, people bashed him for it and were really critical of the decision. Nobody's saying anything now.
He's just a great football mind. And when they get the talent in there, I mean, that division is just going to be ridiculous. You already have the Chiefs. You have the Broncos, who haven't been healthy this year, who, I think when they get healthy can cause some major problems. The Raiders, who we've seen this year, they're a legit team. And the Chargers have arguably the best young quarterback and the best younger rookie quarterback in the league, who looks like he's going to be a superstar. So that's going to be a sucky division to be in over the next decade.
Now we're really going to get into our second to last segment of the show. And that segment is NFL Pick'em Week 12, our Week 12 NFL predictions. I went 8-5 last week. And we're going to go on to the first game, first game, Texans versus Lions. Who's winning that game?
I got the Texans, and the reason why is Deshaun Watson has been the highest graded quarterback in the NFL by PFF since Week 5. I knew you saw that because I saw it because you favorited it. But he has just been playing at an elite level. Their offense in general has been playing at an elite level. They've looked so much better since the bad man is gone, Bill O'Brien. But, I just think that they're a much better team than Detroit right now. And coming off this past week against the Panthers, where they just looked lethargic, I don't think the Lions have any chance.
I'm gonna go with the Texans for most of the stuff you said. I feel like the Texans been on the roll. They got They got a quarterback who's been playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and I feel like I can trust him to get them to win. So I'm gonna pick the Texans.
Lions just got shut out. Deshaun Watson right now has a 108 quarterback rating, the highest of his career. So I got the Texans this game. Next game, Washington versus the Cowboys. Thanksgiving game, I got the Washington football team.
I hate that name.
I'm also riding with the Washington football team. For a lot of the reasons I mentioned last week against the Bengals, they're one of the best defenses in air yards. They're one of the best defensive lines in the league, creating pressure on the quarterback. And the Cowboys quarterback situation right now is in total flux, and their defense is just terrible. I don't trust the Cowboys offense to bail out their defense again against a very underrated Washington football team defense.
I'm gonna just go. I'm gonna pick Dallas to win.
It's a tough one for
Yeah, I
you.
know. Yeah, 'cause I don't want
I think
either team to win.
Andy Doan is playing, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they beat the Vikings last week. So
That win didn't
either
really
win-
impress me.
Either win hurts me regardless. But I think Dallas takes the win on Thanksgiving.
next game, Ravens versus Steelers. Prime
Oh.
time Thanksgiving game. I'm going with the Steelers. The Steelers go to 11-0 now, I believe. And because the Ravens, I think they've legitimately figured out the Ravens. It's always a tough matchup against them. And the Steelers are just on a roll. I don't see them losing this game.
It's crazy because like when we was talking about when the Steelers lose, I picked this to be the week that they lose their first game, and I'm gonna stick by it. I think the Ravens figure it out this week. I think the Steelers undefeated streak comes to an end. I think Lamar gets the W this week.
I hope you're right. I wanted to pick the Ravens in this game, but my mind just screamed at me to take the Steelers. Their defense is just so good, and through the air and on the ground. So I don't see where the
feel like
Ravens
last
get
game was
their
a good
attack
inside.
going. And you know that the Ravens play much better from ahead, and from behind they're a totally different team. So I'm going Steelers.
Next game, Chargers versus Bills. I want to go Herbert with this one, but I just don't trust them. They almost blew the game to the Jets. So I'm going with the Bills this game. Off a bye week, they'll be prepared.
I like Josh Allen and the Bills in this matchup, so I'm gonna pick them. I feel confident in Josh Allen going into this game, and I think they've been a really well-rounded team this year, so I'm gonna rock out with them.
I think it's going to be a shootout, and I think that Justin Herbert is going to make it interesting. Again, he hasn't lost a game by more than a touchdown this season, but I'm going to go Bills just because I don't trust the Chargers defense.
Next game, Titans versus Colts. AFC South matchup. Whoever wins this game is going to lead the division.
Oh, this is it. This is the matchup.
Yeah, but personally, I have the Titans winning this game.
This guy flip.
Division games usually split. Colts won the first one. Titans will win this next one. But I still will pick the Colts to win the division. They'll just lose this game. Titans will win it.
I'm going to go with the Colts. I was not impressed at all by the Titans beating the Ravens. I think that the Ravens lost that game more than the Titans won it. And I was impressed by the Colts beating the Packers. And I think that they're going to keep that momentum going into this week and beat the Titans.
Who are you picking?
I think the Colts are on a roll. They've been running. They just beat the Packers. They high energy. They're feeling it right now. The defense is on par. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the Colts to beat the Titans. I think that win, like you said, more Ravens beat themselves than Titans win. I think Titans before that win were struggling. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the Colts.
Next game, Panthers versus Vikings. I'm going with the Vikings. I feel like they should have beat the Cowboys. It was a very close game. The Panthers have looked good, but PJ Walker's there. I'm not sure who he is yet. So I'm going to go with Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook, and a team that I trust a little bit more.
You trust them?
A little bit more.
I'm gonna go ahead and ride the PJ Walker way. I'm gonna pick them to get the W.
I'm also going to go with the Panthers. I don't
Yes,
know.
sir.
Something about PJ Walker that just makes me want to pick them. And the Vikings are just so inconsistent week to week. The fact that they barely eked out a victory over the Cowboys gives me enough concern. And the Panthers coming off a good win. I mean, not against a good team, but I feel like it was a better confidence booster
I'm riding with
than
the
the Vikings one.
XFL
So
superstar.
I'm gonna go with PJ. And
XFL superstar. I'm riding with him.
hopefully he backs me up.
Next game, Browns versus Jaguars.
Oh.
Who will win that game? It's easy for me. I got the Browns.
I got the
Browns.
Browns too.
Next game, Giants versus Bengals. No Joe Burrow. This
Giants.
is easy for me too. I got the Giants.
They're gonna
Giants.
win again. Damn.
Which is unfortunate because if Joe Burrow didn't get hurt, I probably would have picked the
It would have been a
Bengals
close
in that
game.
I think if they win, they're number one in the division too.
Yeah.
Next
Depending
game,
on what the
No,
other
we're
teams,
gonna
because you
lose.
guys are all 3 wins right now. I
no,
think every team
whoever
in the
wins
division.
Thanksgiving versus Washington and Cowboys is number one.
I think every team in the division has 3 wins
yeah,
right now.
Well, I think the Washington beat everybody because they beat us.
No, yeah, but whoever wins Thursday
Yeah.
is number 1 in the division. So next game, Cardinals versus Patriots.
So wait, even if Dallas wins, and what if we win on Sunday? We're not one.
You don't play this Sunday. You're on a bye.
We're on a bye
I
again?
think you guys are on a
Not a
We're
bye
not a bye.
again. No, you guys are on a bye. And actually, you play the
Yeah,
Seahawks.
we play.
You play
Oh,
the Seahawks.
damn. Well,
So
we're not going to win, but if we did win,
okay.
we would be one.
because you guys have the tie.
Okay.
So next game, Cardinals versus Patriots.
Cards.
I got the Patriots.
Oh.
Cam Newton hasn't thrown an interception in the last 4 games. I think they need a win, and I think they'll get it against the Cardinals.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'm going Cardinals. I mean, Cam Newton and the offense have looked a lot better, but the defense has not at all. They just got shredded up by Deshaun Watson, and I think that Kyler Murray is going to do the same thing. So I'm going Cardinals.
Next game is the Dolphins versus Jets. Pretty easy. I'm going with the Dolphins.
I am also going with the Dolphins. Tua is going to look like a superstar in this one. This is going to be the game. This week and next week against the Bengals is going to be his chance to build his confidence coming into the last few weeks of the season.
Don't count.
Next game,
Jets.
Raiders versus Falcons.
Raiders.
I got the Raiders in this one.
Also got the
Off
Raiders.
a tough loss against Kansas City. They'll figure it out against the Falcons.
I would rather I'll take that as a confidence booster, a loss like they had against the Chiefs.
Raiders.
Next game, Broncos versus Saints, or Saints versus Broncos. Broncos are at home. I got the Saints.
Saints.
I also got the Saints.
49ers versus Rams.
Rams.
I got the Rams winning this game, and I think I told you that eventually they're going to win this division. When it's all said and done, they'll be the division winner.
I'm also going Rams, and it makes me feel much better about my pick that they're winning right now at halftime. So
They would win this one. This one's a huge win right here.
yeah.
I got Rams though.
Next game, Chiefs versus Bucks. 4:15 game, probably. I think it's America's game of the week.
Oh man.
How does that game not go to prime time?
You can't pick.
I'm picking the Tampa Bay Bucks, man.
Wow.
I knew
this
This game is going to be the game that the Bucks show everybody, oh no, we're coming. We're coming for real. Because when they lost to the Saints twice, people are hesitant about the Bucks. They got a lot of question marks. But I'm telling you, they're going to beat the Rams right now on Monday. We're watching the game right now. And they're going to beat them at 4:15 next week against the Chiefs. No doubt about it.
I'll say this. Tom Brady coming off, whether they win or lose this game tonight, I don't think it should have been this close. For all the reasons I mentioned last week, coming off of a game that is closer than it should have been against a team that everybody thinks is the best team in football right now, myself included, against Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady is going to have that team ready. There's no question about it. With that being said, I'm still going with the Chiefs just because the Buccaneers have not impressed me week to week the way the Chiefs have.
I want to say 2 things. One, you better not come in here next episode and say, "Oh, this loss doesn't matter. This loss doesn't matter if the Bucks lose." Don't do that again. Don't. I want to say this too. The Bucks, when they play competition, it's 50-50 with them. They haven't really impressed me. Then one time they do impress me, they go beat the Packers. Then they go lose to the Bears. Then they lose to the Saints. And then this team is a whole different beast. So with that being said, this offense is dynamic. It's unstoppable. I got the Chiefs in a close one. I'm going to pick the Chiefs.
I don't think that I also, before we move on, don't think that this isn't the Bucks regular season is an indictment of the team that'll be in the playoffs.
Yeah, me either. So I don't know why you even said that.
Because you love to say no doubt they're going to win.
Next game, Bears versus Packers. I got the Packers. Sunday night game, primetime. I got the Packers winning this one.
It's a classic one. I'm going to go Packers too. Aaron Rodgers and the boys.
I also got the Packers. The Bears just seem like totally out of whack right now.
Then next week's Monday night game, the Seahawks versus Eagles. I think there's a chance the Eagles win because of the bad stuff that's been going on with them. But I got to say, I'm picking the Seahawks.
You're crazy.
I'm picking the Seahawks. No way I'm betting against Russell Wilson on primetime. No way I'm doing it. Seahawks will beat the Eagles.
I got a few hot takes that I'm going to debate here. I ain't even going to go with my hot takes. I think we get the W this week. I think this week is the week. We get it together with 6 in the pass defense. I think we're going to be able to stop Russell Wilson. I think DK gets locked up this week by Darius Slay, and we pull out a W.
No chance. Seahawks are winning. I don't think I even need to explain it.
When we win, Jack, I want you to come in here next week.
If you win, I'll apologize. Bring me an Eagles jersey.
I want you to come in here with cookies from McDonald's and give me my cookies.
Bring me an Eagles jersey. If they win next week, I'll wear it the whole episode.
You don't deserve to wear an Eagles jersey after that.
Okay, so that does it for our NFL Pick'em Week 12. Yo, don't touch nothing yet. Don't touch nothing.
No, I know. We
This
still got
goes
the
for our
power.
NFL Pick'em Week 12. Put down in the chat who you guys think, or in the comments, who you guys think are going to be your Week 12 winners and your predictions. Now we're going on to the last segment of the show. We're going to go on to NFL Power Rankings Week 12. And before we go on to this segment, I just want to let everybody that's watching know that once we finish this segment, we're going to take in callers. So you guys can call us and you can ask us questions, or you guys can debate us, whatever you want to do. We're just letting you guys know that so you guys could tune in. Probably going to do that in like 10, 12 minutes. So now on to this segment. NFL Power Rankings Week 12. I'm going to start off. These are the top 10 teams in the NFL, just to be clear. My number 10 team is the Los Angeles Rams. They're facing the Bucs right now. They're putting on a pretty good performance. I don't know if they're going to win or not, but I got them being my number 10 team. I think it's fair. I think they're better than the Dolphins, even though they lost. They lost to the Dolphins, right? They're better than the Cardinals to me, the Ravens, the Raiders, the Browns. So I got the Rams at 10.
This is a tough one for me. I didn't want to drop them as much as I ended up doing, but it just was the way it panned out. I think they could definitely be higher than this. And I think that there are other teams that could be in the 10 spot too, but I went Cardinals at 10. You know, I docked them more than I think they should have been for that loss, but I still think that they're a very good team, and I think they'll be in the conversation late in the season. And I think they'll move up from here, but just this week, they just happen to be a 10.
Like Jack said, I had to dock them. You know, they played a tough game, played a hard game, but I had to dock them for that loss to the Seahawks. So I'm going to go ahead and put the Cardinals at 10 for me.
So my number 9 team is the Green Bay Packers. After losing to the Colts, I can't put them above the Colts. And they've shown some real life vulnerabilities in their team, especially on defense, and their offense can get stagnant at times. I got the Packers at 9.
I went with the Titans at 9.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
still in your top 10?
I thought that they had a good win this weekend against the Ravens, so I wanted to show them some love, get them in the top 10. But I wasn't, like I said before, I wasn't as impressed by them as much as I was disappointed in the Ravens. So yeah, they're sitting at 9. The bottom was tough for me because there was teams on the outside that I thought could have been in, but I went Titans at 9.
Number 9 for me, like, it's basically everything Joel said. I mean, I got the Green Bay Packers. I had to put them at 9. I don't like, they show vulnerability a lot against good teams, but still, they're still a top 10 team nonetheless. So I got them at 9.
My number 8 team in the NFL is the Buffalo Bills, because they didn't play this week. So I can't move them up, but I can move them down based off other team performances. So they're number 8, not because of I think they're a bad team or they're worse than the other teams. I just think going into week 12, since they didn't play in week 11, this is where they are. They're number 8.
At number 8, and I wish that we could have been doing this segment about an hour from now, I had the Rams at 8, just because I don't know what their offensive line is going to look like without Whitworth, and then in turn, what is Jared Goff going to look like? He looks impressive so far, so maybe I could have taken another look at this, but I have them at 8 based on what we saw before recording.
Boom. My number 8 team, I got the Los Angeles Rams. It was basically everything you said. I don't know how they're going to look with Whitworth, but I feel like I'm still confident in this team. And by the looks of how this game is performing, I think they're a really great team, and I think they could definitely perform. And I changed my pick a couple weeks ago, and I feel like they were going to come out and win the division. So I got them at 8.
My number 7 team is the Tennessee Titans. I think they're here because, I mean, they beat the Ravens, and unlike you, I think that was an impressive win. I mean, they had a little altercation in midfield. They kind of had to prove themselves. Everybody still kind of has that thought in their head that they beat the Ravens because it was a fluke. The Ravens were supposed to win, and now in the regular season, they beat them again, and they're like, nah, that wasn't a fluke. We're really better than them, and that's why we beat them. I got the Ravens at 7.
You guys might call me crazy for this. I went with the Packers at 7. I think they showed a lot of vulnerability, but I also thought that they played well enough to win against a good team in the Colts. That's why I didn't kill them for that loss. So I went Packers at 7.
My 7 is the same as it was last week.
Got it talking to the mic, bro.
Anyways, my 7 is the same as it was last week, the Buffalo Bills. I couldn't, like Joel said, they didn't play. so I couldn't really dock him up, but I wasn't going to dock him down either, so I got him at 7.
Okay, my sixth team is the Indianapolis Colts. They beat the Packers, they beat the Titans, but 6 is as far as I can have them right now because the top 5 teams that I have in my top 5, they're not better than the Colts. I think they're on a roll. They probably will lose to the Titans this upcoming Sunday, but they will end up winning the division. And I have them at 5. Impressive win against the Packers, like I said. And Phillip Rivers is having a bounce back season from last year.
I also went Colts at 6. I also thought they could have been at 5, but I'll explain my reasoning at 5. But a great win against the Packers boosted them from outside of the top 10 up to number 6 for me. I was really impressed with them this week.
My 6 and 5 are interchangeable, but I'm gonna put 6. I'm gonna put Seattle. I like that win against the Cardinals to bounce back. I feel like they're now starting to get it going, so I'll put them at 6 for me.
So my 5th team is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Scrubs.
I didn't see them play yet. Obviously, after, I might have put them higher after we watched the Monday Night Football game after. We made this segment after. But I have them at 5 right now. That Saints loss hurt them in these rankings. Not where I have them at the end of the season, but in these rankings, that loss to the Saints hurt them a lot. I have them as the 5th best team in the NFL.
I went with the Bills at 5. And my opinion differed from yours where you said, you couldn't raise that. I also I felt weird raising them off of it, but teams ahead of them fell and they didn't hurt themselves at all. And personally, I just have them above the Colts, in my opinion, as a team right now, just because I think their offense is better. So I went Bills at 5. A weird, not very often that you'll see a team jump in a bye week, but
I put the Bills. I put the Colts at 5. I feel like that win last week and the wins they've had over the couple weeks have been really impressive. And they finally jumped into my top 5, especially last week with that win against the Packers.
So the 4th best team in the NFL to me is the Seattle Seahawks. They came into that game with a lot of question marks after losing to the Bills. And I think they proved themselves by beating the Cardinals and getting that revenge on them again. Their defense has been playing better. And I think with Snacks added into the mix, Carlos Dunlap, people like to blame the defensive line for the Seahawks, but that's not the reason their defense is bad. Their defense is bad because of miscommunication, not because of their talent. If they can communicate better, they can move higher on this list, but for now, I have them at 4.
I went with the Buccaneers at 4. They might have been higher or lower based on what is happening right now, but coming into this week, I got them at 4. I think that they're one of the best two-way teams in the league, so that's why I have them. I think that my top 4 are the 4 upper echelon teams in the league.
Yeah, I agree with Jack. Bucks at 4. They don't move they don't go down, they don't go up. They're still one of the best 4 teams in the league, and I feel like they're going to stay here until about week 17. So I got them at 4. My
3rd best team is the New Orleans Saints. I mean, look, their win against the Falcons was good. Taysom Hill was impressive, but it's the Falcons. Who really cares? I can't move them up on the list because they beat the Falcons, but they are a top 3 team in the NFL, and I don't have them. I can't put them ahead of the other 2 top teams I have.
Yeah, exactly. I also have the Saints at 3. I think their defense impressed me more than anything. The fact that they could win without Drew Brees was very impressive, and it showed their offense is strong no matter what. So, I went with them at 3 just because I don't think that you could put them over the top 2 teams right now.
Same thing with you guys. I got Saints at 3. I think the only way to jump into my top 2 is a possible loss out of the 2 top teams, and the Saints get a big win against a good team. So, yeah, I got the Saints at 3.
My 2nd best team is the Steelers. They're undefeated at 10-0. And honestly, I should put them at 1, but I just can't over the Chiefs. That's spoiler alert. Number 1 is the Chiefs. But the Steelers are so good. Chase Claypool is really growing into a number 1 wide receiver. And wow, the Steelers just have an elite defense. Their offense is coming into its own. I have to put them as the 2nd best team in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I have the Steelers at 2. Me and Ruth have been saying it for weeks. As good as the Steelers have been, they just can't unthrone or dethrone the Chiefs. The Chiefs have just been too dominant. Not to give away my number 1, but the Chiefs are going to be number 1. The Steelers, granted, they're 10-0. They have a great defense. They're just one baby step behind the Chiefs for me right now.
I got the Chiefs at 2.
Really?
Yeah, it's I feel like the 2 for the season they're interchangeable. Steelers are undefeated. The Chiefs are dominant. I feel like you can go either or. I just have the Chiefs at 2 because that one blimp on their record. And that reveals my number 1. I got the Steelers at 1 because they're undefeated. They're well-rounded. And although the schedule hasn't been as impressive, a lot of teams still fumble the bag against bad teams. And the Steelers have shown that they take every game like it's serious and like it's their last game. So I have the Steelers at 1, Chiefs at 2.
Exactly. My number 1 team is the Kansas City Chiefs, especially after they had a comeback against the Raiders, which was a phenomenal comeback. I think I have to put them at the number 1 spot until somebody or a team can prove to me that they deserve to be off it. I'm going to keep them on. They're the reigning Super Bowl champions. They're still elite. Steelers have to prove that they deserve it more than that.
Exactly.
Until that, I have the Chiefs at 1.
Ditto. I got the Chiefs at 1. I've been saying it, for weeks now. So I'm going to stick with the Chiefs at 1 until they prove me otherwise.
And that does it for our Week 12 power rankings. So we guys want to hear who your top 5 teams are in the comments, or top 10. You could put whichever. Top 5 is easier, though, in the comments or the chat below. And this is going to do it for our episode of Pick a Side. We hope that you guys enjoyed it. This was our second live episode. As always, you can go follow us on Instagram at Pick a Side Pod, on TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast as well. And of course, if you haven't already, hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. And yep, that's going to do it for our show. So thank you guys for listening, and see you next time.
Is it cool if I go to the bathroom?
Yeah, you go to the bathroom. So, okay, now...
Well, no, because I didn't know,
Forget him, man.
Now we're about to take in callers. So we'll put our number on the screen, and then you guys can call. So our number is on the screen. Don't call yet. We got to get the headphones set up.
That was like that the whole time. Yo, we're having technical difficulties, y'all. We'll be on in a minute.
On the stream on the computer, I'm gonna check it on the computer. This shit is backwards. Oh, no, it's good on the computer.
He said I'm at the East Lobby. Look at Mateen.
Cool.
Mateen.
I just wanted to make sure. I don't know why this is like that. You just stay here until we finish the call. All right.
Mateen, my boy, what up?
Okay, so we're taking in callers. You guys can call now. You fixed the problem. Oh yeah, Mateen. Oh, what's up?
He's like in East Lobby.
So guys, call. We're gonna take in callers. Talk to you guys for a bit. Then we're gonna end off the show. 601-980-1262. Call on your phone and see if it works. This is the first time we're doing it. Okay.
Is that a call?
Yeah, that's a call right there.
Who's calling?
Hello? It said I missed the call.
Ah. Who hung up?
That's Joel, bro.
Is that my voice coming through the headphones? Can you hear that?
Yeah, you can.
That's crazy.
Maybe somebody called and hung up. Hello? Hello? Hello?
2. To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
What the hell? Somebody try to call again. This is the first time I'm using Google Voice. This might be the last time I'm using Google Voice.
We still got 12 people in here, so somebody's got to call.
13.
Yeah, somebody's got to call.
So she said you can't call. It's loud.
Yeah, Google Voice is weird for some reason. I don't know.
What were we using last week?
I was using this app called Text Free.
Jamon McKinney.
To
Hey, what's
accept,
up, man?
press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, what's up, man? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you guys loud and clear.
Awesome.
All right, awesome, man. What's up, man? You want to ask a question? You want to talk to us? What's up?
Sup?
Hey guys, I just wanted to say I really like you guys' podcast. You guys are doing some great things. I actually found it probably about a month ago. I've been in the comment section, commenting with you guys back and forth. You guys respond. I just want to say keep up the great work and whatnot. My name is Jamon McKinney, and I'm a diehard Green Bay Packers fan. And I actually have my own podcast. I'm not the one to endorse my stuff too much on other people's platforms. But if anyone wants to maybe check out the Juice Alert, you guys can go ahead and do that. But I wanted to get to my Green Bay Packers because I'm a diehard Packers fan. We obviously had a tough loss to the Colts. And I kind of feel two ways about the game. On one side, I think that we did some great things because our offense played really well versus one of the best defenses in all of football. The last time we faced a really good defense was Tampa Bay's defense, and that didn't go so well. So I'm happy that we are able to move the football versus a good defense. We showed the capability to do that. However, my thing with my Packers is once we get punched in the mouth, we kind of tend to fold a little bit. And I don't put the loss on Aaron Rodgers because he played a great game. And he gave us a double-digit lead at the half. And anytime, you score 31 points on one of the top 3 defenses in all football, that's not your quarterback. I put the game on Mike Pettin, the defensive coordinator, who did not make enough adjustments in the second half. I also sort of put the game on MVS, who had a great play in overtime. Not in overtime, pardon me. He had a great play in the fourth quarter. But he also, kind of cost us the game with that turnover. Hopefully he responds. But my thing is I just kind of wish my Packers made a move at the deadline to really ensure our Super Bowl hopes potentially, because I think we're right there. I think that you can make the argument we might be a top 5 team right now. We're probably not as good as Kansas City or Pittsburgh or Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay's still really good. We did beat New Orleans, but it just kind of frustrates me that the organization didn't go, make a move at the trading deadline. Maybe I could get you guys' thoughts on our team.
Yeah, I think my thoughts on that team on the Packers is that you guys should have made a move at the deadline for another wide receiver. You guys don't have a second wide receiver to complement Devontae Adams. And then outside of that, it's just been the Packers' run defense. Even dating back to last year, the Packers have been horrible against the run. And they didn't do anything to address that. In fact, they let Blake Martinez go, and for good reason, because he was asking for a lot of money. Kyle Fackrell went as well. So you guys, your linebacking core isn't really good, and you didn't do anything to get it better. Right now, Christian Kirksey is the best linebacker that doesn't play the edge because Darius Smith and Preston are the outside linebackers, but they're not covering guys. You guys don't have good linebackers, and I think that's been the problem with the Packers.
Yeah, and first of all, I want to say thank you very much for the support. We appreciate it. And about the Packers, I totally agree with you, and you should be frustrated that they didn't go out at the deadline and make a move. And you look at offensively, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who I'm not even that high on, has been having some great weeks the past few weeks. Imagine if that was Will Fuller, who it seemed like was within the Packers' grasp, and they just weren't willing to part with the capital that the Texans wanted. I thought that would have been a huge move for you guys and greatly helped out Devontae Adams, who's still having an incredible year. And like Joel said, the defense, you look at a guy like John Taylor, who's been mightily struggling the past few weeks. He came out and had arguably his best performance of the season. So there's definitely holes in that defense, but I agree with you. I think they're right up there, arguably a top 5 team in football. I had them at 7 this week, but I definitely don't think that this loss took them out of the race or anything like that. And any team with Aaron Rodgers, I at least have trust in them moving forward that they can right the ship.
Okay, yeah. I tend to agree. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna talk on the phone. I want to hopefully help other people get in and talk a little bit, but I just wanted to maybe give a comment or two for about a minute. Yeah, my thing is, it's one of those things where, okay, if we don't want to give up a first round pick or multiple draft picks for Will Fuller, that's fine to me, because you would probably have to re-sign Will Fuller after this year just because I believe he's up for a contract this year. So I understand from that standpoint. And listen, if you're giving up a first round draft pick for a guy that you might not even resign, okay, I get it. But there are other players out there. I guarantee you the New York Jets, I guarantee there were some people on the phone trying to maybe get Jameis and Crowder.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Houston Texans roster right now. We could have maybe went and got Randall Cobb or a Kenny Stills, just someone that's reliable and that Aaron Rodgers probably can trust. Randall Cobb would have been a great fit for the team. He's been on the team in the past. He's a reliable target for Aaron Rodgers. And the thing about Marquez Valdes-Scantling is I think Aaron Rodgers, low-key, might not fully trust him. And that's not good when you're, going against some of these better teams. Eventually, I think that could catch up to us. But I still like our team. I think we're in contention right now to win the Super Bowl. I'm not going to ever count us out because we have a great quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. And I think the defense is scrappy enough. We did create some turnovers versus Phillip Rivers and the Colts. So I think that our blueprint to winning the Super Bowl is, well, first of all, we have to get our running game going a little bit better because Aaron Jones did not play particularly well versus the Colts. He had his moments in the first half, but second half didn't really do too much. So we need to be balanced. Aaron Rodgers needs to continue to be Aaron Rodgers. I think that as long as we can create turnovers and get after the passer and play with a lead, I think that if we get enough breaks in the playoffs, we could potentially win the Super Bowl. But not quite sure if we're as good as, the Steelers, the Chiefs of the world, but we'll see, man. But I'm going to get off the phone now. Thank you guys for letting me call in. You guys are doing some good things with the Pick a Side podcast. And if anyone else out there is listening to this and maybe wants some other entertainment as far as sports podcast goes, you can subscribe to my podcast, The Juice Alert. I've been doing it for about a year and a half now. Been putting out some pretty good content. So if anyone wants to check that out, be sure to check it out. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for letting me call in.
Thank you.
Thank you for supporting. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
We
now we're
appreciate the
gonna
support, man.
take in another caller, so you guys can call now.
And I think when it comes to the Packers, they're a team that you could never count out just because of their quarterback. They have a great offense. Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, they have the guys to make it happen.
I feel like it's every year the same stuff for them.
Yeah. It comes down to the defense at the end of the day. And do I think that they could be in that hunt for a title? No
I
doubt.
feel like
Because
they're always going to be in the race.
Yeah.
They have Aaron Rodgers, Devontae
So
Adams.
Juiced Up 13 is about to call. He said he's about to call. He's on the comments right now.
and when it comes to the playoffs, it's game by game. And, you just never know who's going to bring it come playoff time. I mean, it'll be a little different this year because I believe there's an extra game now with the extra teams added. So it should be interesting, but I'm definitely not counting the Packers out.
So, yep, we're going to be taking 5 to 10 callers if we get. Okay, we got the caller coming in. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hey, what's
Hey,
up,
what's up,
man?
guys? How y'all doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Doing perfect. I'm fantastic, man.
Are you Juiced Up 13?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. What's up, man? What's your name?
Hey, I'm Zach.
What's up, Zach? So what you want to call in and ask about or talk about?
I hear a lot of talk about people saying Packers fans saying they're Super Bowl contenders, and after that performance last night, where do you think the Colts are at?
Where I think the Colts are at, I think the Colts are in a very good place. I've been picking them to win a division even before the season. I'm very high on the Colts. I just don't know if they're Super Bowl contenders. I think they can make it to the playoffs and possibly upset a team. I think their ceiling is getting to the AFC Championship. That defense is elite for sure. It's just that offense has a ceiling.
Yeah, and I agree with Joel. I had them at number 6 in my power rankings this week. I was super impressed with that win over the Packers, and the win against the Titans the week prior really put me on notice to them being an actual competitor. And like Joel said, I think that they're a playoff team for sure, and I think that they can make some noise in the playoffs. But Phillip Rivers and that offense, I feel like just can't hang with an offense like Patrick Mahomes. Like I don't know if they have the firepower to hang around with a team like that, but I think they could surely make some noise in the playoffs. They're a great team.
Hold up real quick before River responds. We beat the Chiefs, though.
Yeah, so what you got to say, Riv? They beat the Chiefs.
When?
Last season.
Last season.
Oh, he talking about last season. Man, I do think you guys, outside of the Steelers and the Chiefs, I think you guys have a really great chance to walk into the playoffs and beat any other team and definitely put up a fight against the top 2 teams. I don't think you guys are there yet in terms of being Super Bowl contenders. I still think you guys need some pieces on offense. But overall, I think you guys are a really great team outside of the top 2.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Hey, we just need to get Rondale Moore and a quarterback, and I think we got something.
Rondale Moore is a beast, man. He's at wide receiver out of Minnesota, right?
Purdue.
Purdue, okay. I forgot Minnesota's Rashad Bateman, I think.
Yeah, Bateman.
Yeah, man. Yo, we appreciate you calling. Colts fan over here, Juiced Up 13.
Wait, so are you from Indianapolis?
Nah, I'm actually based out in Arizona.
Arizona.
Okay, that's what's up.
Beautiful area.
Yeah, misplaced.
So we appreciate you calling, and thank you for supporting our podcast.
I appreciate you guys. You guys do phenomenal content. Thank you, guys.
All right, see you.
And we reach out all the way
to
Arizona. Dope.
That's crazy to
It's
hear.
all the way on the other side.
Yeah, it's always crazy hearing like people calling in from around the country.
All right, we're gonna take in a few more callers, so feel free to call in, guys.
I think people think we're from LA.
And I said before, it Juiced Up, if you're still listening, I said I wish I could see this Colts team with Andrew Luck. Because with Andrew Luck, if he kept progressing on the track he was in, I think they would be right up in that top 3 conversation right now.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because he's way better than Phillip Rivers.
But that's crazy. I've been watching the chat this whole episode. We have 20 people in here right now, so somebody call in.
11 and 23.
And I gotta say, since we started doing the live shows, they've been in here. We've had pretty much 20 viewers. We haven't dropped it into single digits pretty much since we started doing this. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you, Adante. I appreciate you. But I've been checking out the chat and seeing you guys like talking about where you're from and stuff. We got a bunch of people from Texas, San Antonio.
Talk about this. What's going on here?
I mean, I haven't really been watching the game. Obviously, you've been doing the podcast, but
I can't believe that the Rams are winning.
No, they've actually been playing really good.
We're taking in
interception, Jared Goff.
We're taking in a few callers left more. So if you guys want to call in, you guys want to debate, you guys don't like one of the takes that we made on a previous show or on this show, you guys feel free to call in, can debate whichever one of us. So yeah, we got 17 people watching. So I know one of you guys got a phone, got a cell phone number.
I saw everybody in the comments of that James Harden video talking smack. Come on, call in. Talk to me about it. Let me debate you on it. See, the chat was on my side, though. The chat was on my side, though.
Yeah, no, I seen that.
We'll see. I don't think the move is gonna happen in the end, though.
Riv said you were getting toasted.
He was
getting toasted.
Nah, you were, bro.
Getting toasted.
I was getting toasted.
Bro, it was because, like, all right. So in a debate, it's like you guys' content, like it was good content from both groups, but I feel like in the debate, the guy who's putting in the more energy, like,
You gotta call him.
superior guy is gonna win. He just felt way more superior. He was like,
Because all he was talking about was his passion for James
Okay.
Harden. When I was talking logically,
what does James Harden, what does Kyrie do better than
I
James
think the
Harden?
call ended. If somebody called and the call ended, you guys call again, or we'll call you.
I feel confident in the information I
Hold
brought
on,
to
let
the
me
table.
hear so we can hear this.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, man?
I feel confident in the.
Oh, hey, what's up, y'all?
Hey, what's up? Yeah, I just saw that you called, and the call, like, I think it ended for some reason. I don't know if that was you.
Yeah, I try to call, make sure it works.
Okay, yeah, it works. What's your name, man?
I think you recognize my voice. It's Leo.
Oh, Leo.
Ah,
Oh, what's
okay.
up, man?
Leo called in
How y'all
last week.
doing?
We doing good. What did you want
I
to
forgot
talk
about
about or ask a question about?
I want to know what is the. You ever thought this was a weird playoff format for this year NFL season?
It definitely is a weird playoff format, but I actually like it. I like that more teams are getting a chance to get into the playoffs because, now there's going to be 14 teams in the playoffs, and I think that's a little bit too low. I think they should add maybe 2 more spots because we see there's so many good teams in the NFL. I mean, 16 teams in the NFL are good for sure, are good enough to make the playoffs. There's always a couple that miss it. So this format is definitely weird because there's only one team that has a bye. But I do like that there's more teams that get a chance to get into the playoffs.
And I'll kind of back Joel on that. Although it's really weird, I agree with you. If there was ever a year it was going to happen, I think that this was a great year for it because we've seen, at least, like Joel said, 16 teams that could be playoff teams. So I'm actually really excited for this year's playoffs because I think that, especially in the AFC, any of those teams that make the playoffs can compete. Even though there's those 2 top dogs at the top, anyone else is going to come out and, have a close game, I think.
And I feel like I agree with them. I feel like maybe one more team. I think we should have 8 from both conferences to make it a little even. But I do like the extension of more teams. I feel like we're starting to see in the NFC there's about 8, 9 teams that can be playoff teams, and the same thing with the AFC.
I understand your point, but even that point, they even thought about like, oh, let's go with work. Even like, let's say a bad divisional record winning the playoff spot, like the NFC East. No offense, Riff.
I don't even know what to say that because I'm glad we're just gonna get in the playoffs if we still do. But I guess if they do decide to take the NBA route where it's just 8 teams get in regardless, I do think it's fair because I do think there's a lot of teams that deserve the playoffs to make the playoffs before us. Well, our whole division, because our division is having a bad year and a lot of teams are good. It's just they have a hard division. So I do think at some point they should fix that. But as of right now, no, we're going to the playoffs. So I'm sorry to tell you that.
I thought they should do like the March Madness way. I know a lot of people do the NBA way, but I thought March Madness way to be more easier.
Explain that. Elaborate on that. What you mean?
Like the first top seed, then the bottom seed. But
So like
even amount like 18 on the AFC, 18 on the NFC. Then no first round buys.
Interesting. It would definitely.
That would be dope.
It would definitely be competitive. I mean, and I think this year you look at it, there would be no better year because I think there are 8 teams from each conference that can definitely be bona fide playoff teams.
8 might be like 9.
And I got one more question.
What is it?
Are you sure if the Jets had the future if you draft Trevor Lawrence? Because it could be a similar situation if you did draft Trevor Lawrence, if you had Sam Darnold.
I hope yes. I mean, I think Trevor Lawrence is better than Sam Darnold. Trevor Lawrence is a generational talent. I'm pretty sure that Adam Gase is going to get fired. So, I think we'll be headed in the right direction. But I still don't trust in Joe Douglas. We got to see what he does as a GM. He could mess it all up.
Yeah, and we had this debate a couple of weeks ago about Joe Douglas. I still trust him. I want to see him draft. And the good thing is, he's come in on the tail end of Sam Darnold's rookie deal. And I think that is one of the biggest reasons Sam Darnold will be gone after this year. And then you get 5 years of Trevor Lawrence's rookie deal. Well, you'll get to build around him, build that offensive line. I think they already have pieces that they can keep around, but they definitely have some work to do. I think that the head coach is the first and most important piece to bring in. And if they hit on that, bring in Trevor Lawrence and at least do okay in the draft over the next 2 years, they'll be making some noise.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure your only hope is your GM do his best job in the offseason. All you'll have to do is just fire the head coach. Me as a Texas fan, we need a coach and a GM.
You're a Texans fan?
Yeah.
Ooh. Listen, the best move that you guys could ever make was firing Bill O'Brien. So that was the first step for you. But like you said, you're in the same boat. You guys got to find that coach, and obviously for you, GM. So it'll be interesting to see what both of our teams figure out this offseason. The good thing for you is you got your franchise quarterback too.
Yeah, that's the only thing we had so far. But even then, we need more help, just like y'all. Like, we need more help around on the defense side. And the Jets are like, they need more help around the offense side.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, we appreciate you for calling last episode and this episode, and thanks for supporting us, bro. We appreciate it.
All right. You're welcome. Just congrats for your 1,000 subscribers.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you very
we
much.
appreciate it.
Wow, Dante said in the chat, 50K by the end of 2020.
So Juiced Up said, I don't know how y'all don't have 15K plus subs. Energy is dope in here. We appreciate it, bro. Definitely appreciate your support.
We'll get it soon.
It really is. And I think that,
Dante said he's about to call. I think he's coming in.
Hilarious.
I think he's coming in for a debate.
yeah, one of the things, well, we have a minute here. One of the things that, obviously we wish we could be like 50K, 100K. That'd be awesome. But I think it's really cool being at 1K and having this group of supporters that have been in here 3 live episodes in a row now, the draft in the last week. And now, like, we get to interact with you pretty much one-on-one. We get to take in your calls, talk to you guys for like 5 minutes. So
I feel like every month or two, it's something new. We add something.
Yeah.
Something
Yep.
Hello?
To
This
accept,
Dante?
press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hello, is this Dante?
Yeah.
Oh, what's up, bro? So what you calling in for? Question,
Good, man.
debate, what's up?
I got 2 questions.
All right, what's up? What you want to
I'm
ask?
gonna start. I just want to know what you think the dream off season is for the Jets this year.
You asking me, Jack?
Not actually me. He's asking you Jets fans.
It would mainly be for you and Jack, but Rick could give his input too.
So I think a dream scenario for the Jets is, first off, firing Adam Gase. Then we got to draft Trevor Lawrence, and we got to try to get some offensive line guys. I'm not sure who's going to be a free agent. And then we got to get some defensive players. I think the Jets have so many holes, but I think the 3 most important things this offseason is to fire Adam Gase, draft Trevor Lawrence, and then get a good head coach.
yeah, and I'll kind of piggyback on that. I have something similar. Obviously, I hope we go 0-16 or 1-15 if that gets us the first overall pick. But get that first overall pick, get Trevor Lawrence, fire Adam Gase. My dream head coach to bring in will be Eric Bieniemy, but I think there's a bunch of guys out there that would be a solid pick. And then, we do have a lot of holes. I think that getting a star wide receiver would definitely help, and there will be a couple options. I know some people might not consider him a star. Juju Smith-Schuster's out there. I've heard people talking about maybe bringing Odell back to New York as a possibility. And they got a lot of draft capital. So even though we have a lot of holes, we need some help at corner. We need some help at wide receiver on the offensive line. So those would be the biggest needs that I would address. But I would say my biggest checklist will be Trevor Lawrence, Eric Bieniemy, and then fill out the rest of those holes.
Mm-hmm. Rick, you want to put an input before I say what I think?
Absolutely not.
So Rip not gonna go. So what do you have to say?
So me,
I believe the Jets said, no, number one, trade Sam Darnold. That's his number one. Get rid of him. Get whatever you could get from him, even if it's a 4th-round pick. Get it. Number two, sign Dak Prescott. That's number 2.
Wow.
Number 3, trade down in the draft. So about number 6, 7, try to draft Jamar Chase, pick up another 1st-round pick, some more picks, and really, boost the team. We need that.
That's actually not the craziest take, and I've heard a lot of people talking about maybe trading that 1st-round pick.
I thought I was gonna hear worse, honestly.
Obviously, it will be terrible if Trevor Lawrence does end up becoming the quarterback that people are touting him to be. But I mean, there's so many holes that maybe trading back and even sticking with Sam Darnold might not be the worst option. But personally, I would go with Trevor Lawrence, but I see the thought process behind trading that pick.
With all due respect, Odante, if the Jets do any of the things that you just mentioned, I will pull my goddamn hair out.
But did you see what Dak did this season? Like,
I don't care. I don't care what he did. I'm not paying a guy coming off an injury $30 million a year when I can get a franchise quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, who hasn't had an injury like that and who's probably better than Dak when he steps into the NFL.
You really think he'll be better than Dak?
It depends on what the Jets surround him with, but in terms of talent, there's no doubt about it that he's already more talented than Dak.
All right. Question number 2. Rev.
Yo.
Oh, this for Rev.
Yeah, this for Rev.
I bet you it's a Carson Wentz question.
Why are you so delusional, man? Why?
What are you talking about, man?
Why do you really think the Eagles are going to make the playoffs this year?
I just feel like this is
like you really see a future, and it's weird to me. Like you really see something in this season. You still see hope, even though you barely beat the Giants on Thursday night. You tied with the Bengals. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, if you're gonna say all that, don't forget we almost beat the Ravens. We played tough against the Steelers.
That was a lot of garbage time touchdowns. You over exaggerate that all the time.
Listen, I'm gonna say this. I'm very optimistic, just for the simple fact that I feel like my team could turn it around, and I like my chances against the other teams. The Giants, the Redskins, the Dallas Cowboys, and I feel like when you have, regardless of his struggles, when you have a talented quarterback, it's always good to feel confident in his abilities and the team. So I just feel like we have the best quarterback, we have the best coach. Why shouldn't I be feeling confident in my team?
All right. I want you to say this again. You have the best quarterback?
Yes, right now in our division, I have the best quarterback. Who's better than him? Daniel Jones?
Are you talking about Dak Prescott hurt?
And Alex Smith?
He's better than
Alex Smith is better than Carson. Carson went to lead the league in interception.
Hang up the phone.
Carson Wentz sucks. He's not even the best quarterback on the team.
Who's better than him?
Jalen Hurts.
Oh my god. Oh my god, bro. Bro, you're crazy, bro. Carson, watch, we're gonna make the.
You put Jalen Hurts in. Your season will be turned around.
So who you think gonna make? Who you think gonna win our division?
The Giants, easily.
The Giants. So you think the Giants gonna win the division?
They're the best team in the division. Yes.
Whoa. All right,
we gonna see if you take age as well.
And I also think 6-10 wins that division. Because they all suck. But the Giants are the best team.
We all suck. There's no denying that. Dante, this is what I want you to do. I want playoff week 1. When we do get in and we play, I want you to call back this episode and I want you to apologize to me personally, man to man.
All right, and I will call back when the Giants are in the playoffs, and I want you to apologize. All right?
Deal. All right, deal.
All right.
We appreciate you for calling, man, and thanks for supporting us. We appreciate it.
Definitely, man. Congrats on 1K, 50K by the end of 2021.
Thanks, bro. We
you.
appreciate it.
No problem.
Man, I hope we're at 50K by the end of 2020.
All right, so we're gonna.
Crazy. We would need Stephen A. Swift to just jump on here. And do this shit up.
All right, so we're gonna take in a few more callers, maybe like 2 more. So if you guys want to call in, you guys can call in.
I need Kyle Lowry to talk. I want to hear what this basketball topic is.
Probably gonna talk about DeMarcus Cousins.
Really?
Probably not.
You said Chip with Christian Woods. Chip and Boogie?
Hello.
Call from.
Pops.
Hey, what's up, man?
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hey, I'm looking at y'all right now, Don. Big up.
Oh, that's Clarence.
Oh! Yo,
Yeah, it's Pops. It's Pops on the line. What's up?
Hey, what's up, man?
What's good, River?
It's good.
All right, I'm going to keep it sports related. Yo, what do you think about the trades in the NBA?
Which one specifically?
The one that just went down with LA, where they picked up Harrell.
Oh, Harrell.
We didn't talk about that
Oh,
yet.
yeah. I mean, I think the Lakers, they just won a championship and they just got better. I mean, you got Dennis Schroeder there, Montrezl Harrell. I think Marc Gasol went
Wesley
there too.
Matthews.
Wesley Matthews. Marc Gasol's there. Like, I think the Lakers are definitely the team to beat. And we got to see some other teams make moves so they can prove that they're more talented. You know, I think the Lakers right now are the best team in the NBA. If the Nets can somehow trade for James Harden, that's the only way that I feel differently. But as of now, the Lakers are the best.
And I don't mean to cut you off, Rib, but I think that one.
Yo, no, that's love. That's what's up. Because I think the same way. If you get Kyrie, the Beard, and KD healthy for the whole year,
Yeah.
they're gonna do damage in the East.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I thought
They need to put Pops down. Yo, one love, yo.
All right, we appreciate the call, man.
Yeah, Clarence is so funny, bro.
Jack was always trying to talk, bro. I was
One
like-
love.
Nah, that was great. That was great.
Clarence is funny, man. I love
Jack was
Clarence.
like, yo, I just think he was like, yo, one love. He was like, yo, I'm out.
Clarence funny as hell, man.
Are we
That's
taking
really how
it?
he talks in real life. Like that's real life. How he talks in life.
Jack was like, hey, yo.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was just gonna.
He was like, I didn't mean to cut you off, Red, but I was just gonna say, he's like,
Oh,
hey,
that
yo,
was
nah,
great.
yo, I appreciate that.
That was funny.
All right, so we're taking in one more caller. So whoever wants to be the last caller tonight, it's all on you. You know, we know Kyle Lowry.
Kyle Lowry.
wants to call. He wants
Call
to ask
in.
about basketball. You know, we can talk
I
about
need to
basketball.
hear that basketball question.
Talk to me about that, Joe. Zach, how you feel about the Montrezl Harrell? Because reportedly he said the Clippers didn't even offer.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I was going to say. The quote was crazy to me because I heard him on a Zoom call. A reporter asked him, you know, did you think the Clippers wanted you back or something like that? And he said, apparently not if I'm here. So, you know, I think that I personally, I'm not an insider. I don't know this for sure, but I think he had better offers to go elsewhere. I think he chose to go to the Lakers to stick it to the Clippers more than anything. And I think that he's going to come in with a fire that he's never had before. And, you know, I think
This is what he was trying to tell Clarence.
Yeah, nah, literally.
yeah, exactly. I think that you said it. The Lakers had the best offseason at any team in basketball, in my opinion.
Yeah.
To come off a championship, lose as much as they did, and still get better with Schroeder, with Wesley Matthews, with Marc Gasol, with Montrezl Harrell, already having LeBron and AD, and they retained the couple. They retained Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, which I thought was huge for their defense more than their offense, and still having a guy like Caruso, who I think is a great role player. I think they're in great shape moving into the season. I think they're going to be better than they were last year coming into the season.
It was a good move. I know Montrezl Harrell, his stock dropped a little bit in the playoffs,
Yeah.
so I know it wasn't many offers out for him probably, but I still think it's a solid move getting him and Schroeder to come off the bench for LeBron. And
Yeah,
AD.
and
So we're taking in one more caller for you guys that's still in the
And
chat.
I think who else? I think the Bucks. I think the Clippers, Lakers, Clippers, Bucks, Philly have been.
Dante said happy to bring up Kuzma.
I think I would probably put Lakers, Bucks, Clippers, Philly as those teams that have made the most like significant moves to make their teams
The
better.
Hawks.
Yeah, the Hawks too, but they weren't a playoff
Fair.
team before. So yeah, now I like the Clippers with Ibaka. I like Milwaukee getting shooters out there.
Yeah.
I like Philly getting shooters with Ben Simmons. So I like the moves that is being made. I think the NBA is going to be really fun this year.
One more thing on Harrell. I've never been a huge Montrezl Harrell fan, but I will say if there was any situation for him to thrive in, it would be next to Anthony Davis, an elite, big time, big guy in the league who can space the floor, stretch out, and shoot the three. I think it'll be a perfect matchup with Harrell down low. Will help him on the glass too.
It's going to be interesting though, because I know, because like with the problem with the Clippers, he had to play the 5.
Yeah.
So he had to guard centers, and that's what made him virtually unplayable.
The
So
good
now
thing
you have
is,
AD.
though, you could play him at the 5 and have AD guard the 5 on the other
When
end.
they played Denver, he was
Yeah,
unplayable.
exactly.
Now you have AD.
That was what killed them against Denver was they couldn't guard Jokic. But
you put Zubac in, but Zubac is put him in a pick and roll. He's not.
Yeah. And you mentioned the Bucks. The one thing that I want to see the Bucks do before I say anything about their offseason is sign Giannis to a supermax extension. Because if he doesn't do that, this offseason was a failure for them.
I don't think it was though, because you lose. I think losing Giannis, but you still have Middleton, Holiday, Dante.
Yeah, but look at what they gave up for Drew Holiday. It was not worth
they'll get
it for
Cap
Drew
back.
Holiday.
They'll still be. I think they'll still be a good team if they lose Giannis.
They would still be like a
AFC,
borderline playoff team. But if you lose Giannis, you lost your offseason.
I think if he doesn't sign a supermax by the trade deadline, you trade him.
I would agree with that too. Because if he doesn't sign a supermax offseason, it shows he doesn't want to be there
so
long
then
term.
you would have lost him for nothing essentially.
Yeah. And Anthony Davis is waiting for that too. I don't know if you guys have read that, but Anthony Davis is waiting to see what Giannis does because
I thought he said he was waiting on the team construct. The way the team is going to be constructed to see how long his contract.
Personally, I think he is waiting for Giannis because if Giannis doesn't sign a supermax, Anthony Davis could sign a 1-and-1 player option, and at the end of this year, he can opt out and figure out the contract situation so that they could bring in Giannis. It could be LeBron, Giannis, AD, which you might as well cancel the season at that point.
How would they do that though?
Yeah, you saying they would team up on another team?
No, I think they could bring in Giannis. Depending on the, they would listen. If Giannis was committed to coming to LA, they'll figure out the cap. They'll trade anybody on the roster to bring him.
I think Pope will have to go. Dennis Schroeder, they'll let walk. Montrezl, they'll have to give up essentially everybody.
So we're taking in one more caller. We're gonna end the show at 10 in like about 2 minutes. If we don't have another caller.
Yeah, we got 19 people in here. So
well, you guys got a phone.
Somebody calling Kyle Lowry. I want to hear that basketball topic, man.
Oh, they had Ric Flair at the Lakers.
Oh shit.
296. I can't believe this game right now.
Yeah, I feel like the Rams had the ball all game.
If they'll win, if the Rams win this game, I'll be really impressed. And maybe I'll change my opinion on the division.
It's just that the Bucks have no pass protection right now. That's why they're losing. All right, so we're about to end the live stream. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for everybody that called in and gave your opinion and was active in the chat. We appreciate all of you guys. I think there's an end stream button right there, right, Chris?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So thank you guys for watching.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Peace out.